to invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy troops. CBS's Lana Zak in Minneapolis.
We heard Governor Walz say that he wants to try and bring down the temperature. That is after the president talked about the Insurrection Act. Prior to that, Governor Walz was encouraging Minnesotans to document what he was calling atrocities against them by ICE agents.
Iran's crackdown on anti-government protesters remains a top concern for President Trump. CBS's Linda Kenyon with the latest.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump believes diplomacy is still the first option with Iran. But she says he doesn't rule out U.S. military intervention.
One thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table.
Leavitt spoke amid reports Iran has halted its threat to execute protesters through hangings. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
A day after Denmark's foreign minister met with White House officials and later said there's a fundamental disagreement with President Trump over Greenland, CBS's Ramy Inocencio explains how Danish and European allies are responding.
Denmark, for its part, is now sending more troops to Greenland. A Royal Danish Air Force C-130 cargo jet landed in the capital Nuuk with military personnel getting off of it on Wednesday night. And they are prepping for a new defense exercise, apparently hastily called on short notice, called Operation Arctic Endurance. This is in response to Trump's desire to take Greenland.
Federal prosecutors charged over 20 people in an alleged point-shaving scheme involving dozens of college basketball players. According to the indictment, players on more than 17 different NCAA Division I men's basketball teams fixed and attempted to fix over 29 games. CBS's Scott McFarland.
A game in Nichols State. They're alleging that two players were gotten to and were impacted by bribes, and that there was a demand on those players to ensure Nichols State did not cover the point spread in the game, and, quote, the scheme succeeded. This is the type of thing that can be destabilizing for sports and for college basketball overall.
Dragon, SpaceX, we see splashdown.
4 astronauts are back on Earth after a medical condition for one of them cut their International Space Station mission short. CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood.
We do know they're doing great. We saw them get off the ship. They looked good, all 4 of them. No indication of anything wrong with anybody, but obviously they're going to check that out very thoroughly.
Stocks are up on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Take control of your financial life. Follow and listen to Money Watch with Jill Schlesinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Seattle's new mayor takes her first action on the homeless crisis. But first, KIRO Newsradio traffic. Here's Lori.
Traffic is brought to you by Northwest Hope and Healing. Southbound I-5 in Everett, right at 529. They've got a stall in the right lane. Everett to Seattle now, just a 30-minute drive is slowing you down from about Northgate on into downtown. A 2-minute delay, Linwood to Bellevue, making that a 24-minute drive. Seattle to Tacoma, only 30 minutes. And US 2, just past Skycomish, they're doing some alternating traffic for striping the roadway there. Same at State Route 203 from Sketch Street to 288. They're doing some road work, so alternating you through the scene there. Join Northwest Hope and Healing for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of wine tasting and inspiration. Get your tickets now for January 31st at northwesthopeandhealing.org. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson today took her first action to tackle the homeless crisis.
Mayor Wilson says simply clearing homeless camps is not a long-term solution.
People understandably might not want an encampment near their business or near their residence, but if we're moving people along without actually getting them inside, then they're just going to another place and then they're going to be back.
Instead, her new executive order created a team to identify incentive plans, permitting changes, and other policy changes to help City Hall bring the homeless inside and identify public land to rapidly expand shelter and housing needs. She also says she wants to see progress before next summer's World Cup. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Microsoft today weighed in on the affordable housing crisis. The company says the state needs 55,000 new units a year, but only issued 34,000 permits last year. After spending $750 million since 2019, Microsoft President Brad Smith is urging lawmakers to act.
We cannot build more housing unless we make it cheaper for people to build more housing.
He says developers are investing in other states because it is cheaper and faster to build there, and he suggests using land like empty strip malls to create multi-unit homes. Seattle police are searching for the gunman who shot up a car overnight in the High Point area on Sylvan Way Southwest. The driver was shot in the arm but expected to survive. So many rounds were fired that bullets also hit nearby vehicles and a house. Seattle police are asking for help finding the person who set fire to a Capitol Hill bakery on Christmas Day. More from KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomibao.
James Prop still in disbelief watching this surveillance video. It shows a man setting fire to his Capitol Hill bakery Cinnaholic on Christmas Day.
Once it lit and it flamed up, this individual just got on his scooter.
The shop, usually filled with the scent of cinnamon rolls, now reeking of smoke. Flames charred the outside wall and blew out the window above it. Firefighters put it out before it could spread inside. Prop hopes the suspect gets caught soon and wants more protection for small businesses.
It's business as usual at the Seahawks practice facility this week.
This is the message, right? It's the playoffs, but this is week 19.
Head coach Mike McDonald on his mindset ahead of Saturday's playoff game against the 49ers. It's a 5 p.m. kickoff Saturday at Lumen Field and right here on 97.3 KIRO FM. KIRO News Radio weather, increasing sunshine today with highs around 50. It's 50 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill, and Jake is still with the family, taking some time to be a dad and a good husband. It's time well spent, I got to tell you. I'll be working solo today with Laura Scott, my co-host for the day, my producer/co-host.
Hello.
You're getting double pay today, right? Being
I
co-host.
should.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's
of course
a great idea.
I'm your advocate for a fair and equitable pay. That's easy for me to say without any teeth in my statement. We've got a lot of stories to bring to you today, national, local, fun, serious, all the things that we want to get to make sure your day is well spent here at KIRO News Radio. Opening the show with us is our own Luke Ducey, who is bringing us the latest details from the newly elected mayor, Mayor Wilson, who had a statement today. It was only backpedaled for just a couple days here. First, there was a statement that the mayor wasn't going to clear out the homeless encampment on the Burke-Gimlin Trail near Ballard. Is that, if I got the straight place?
That's right. And she was there yesterday, and we'll dive into that.
Yeah. But she was issuing a public statement today at 9:30, which you were present for. Yep. Give us the details on what that scenario, where it stands, and what the mayor had to say.
Yeah, let's dive in. Two big announcements from the mayor today. Her first two executive orders, and one of it has to do with transportation and bus lines. We'll dive into that if you want, and just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let's
go to the homeless issue. What you're talking about. So this is an order around homelessness that she issued today. Mayor Wilson is creating a team that will look into ways to get people off the streets, and as she says, bring people inside. This team is going to explore ways to rapidly expand and expedite new shelter and affordable housing by identifying options for financial incentives, permitting changes, and other policy changes that could be to incentivize landowners to house the homeless or use their properties for shelters. Could be we don't know the details yet, but they're looking at that. Unclear what other policy changes she's talking about, but I'm sure that will come out as they explore deeper and deeper. Her team is going to identify and prioritize city-owned public land and other public lands they could use to temporarily or permanently site new emergency shelters and housing for the homeless. She also mentioned that that could look like more tiny housing, but it could look like a McMinnville situation, if you remember what that is, people listening.
Nicholsville?
Did I say McMinnville?
McMinnville.
I got my vills wrong.
You got breweries on your mind, which I understand. Right. I completely respect and understand the
McMinnvins. I was talking with Sully the other day.
Let's go there now.
I was talking with Sully the other day, and seriously, when I was down in Portland, he said, "You need to go to McMinn."
Oh, that's a great one along the freeway there along I-5. Yeah, north of Portland. It's fabulous.
Exactly, Nicholsville. And so, if you don't know what that is, that's homeless camp. Think of it in the city that kind of roves around from place to place, but the city kind of helps them do that. And there's security involved in this and that.
We've seen those programs before. Mayor Nichols was the one who championed the idea of let's have a homeless encampment that the city can help assist and monitor to eliminate some of the constant troubles that arise from these pop-ups, if you will, for homeless encampments.
So Mayor Wilson says that could be
an issue.
part of that. Okay. She's also going to coordinate with regional partners to identify shelter programs. And finally, they'll be identifying best practices, working with organizations with expertise in behavioral health and support substance disorders, addiction treatment, et cetera, because she, in Wilson's team's mind, you can't do one without the other. They're usually combined. And if you don't treat addiction and those needs, then people are going to end up homeless again and again because it's a nasty cycle. So largely, and then we'll dive into the Ballard thing. So largely, these are all ideas that she has put out that past mayors have already tried. It seems instead of a direct action, her order is kind of like, let's talk about it and we'll find the best path forward as we go. But she wants to move quickly. But it's not like, hey, here's an action, we're doing this immediately right off the bat. They're looking at ideas. But again, these are rather broad strokes that she's painting now, and she'll dive into it. Now, the Ballard issue, she spent a lot of time talking about how they can keep the homeless safe and secure in all of these areas, including Ballard. For instance, when she was speaking about the Ballard camp, that was
this is in Ballard Commons Park along the Burke-Gilman Trail.
And it's controversial because there's been a lot of assaults and shootings there and break-ins in neighboring businesses, and a lot of people, residents who live there, want this camp out. Well, she came in yesterday. It was slated to be cleared out and said, nope, let's stop. Let's not clear this camp out. Because she wants to really look at are there better ways of doing this? Other people then immediately reacted, like We Heart Seattle. It's a nonprofit. Andrea Suarez, who works with the homeless every day. I mean, this was her reaction to the decision to pause that relocation.
It's a ticking time bomb for the community, whether it's fires, crime, assaults, theft of all kinds.
So when Mayor Wilson was talking about that camp today, she mentioned safety and security, and then she started talking about safety and security of the people who live in the camp. In other words, there's a trucking facility. Trucks drive in and out of that camp, near that camp all the time, and she wanted to make sure that that homeless camp was in an area where they, especially at night when it's dark, they wouldn't be hurt by those trucks. So that's fantastic. But the emphasis from her and her team was on the safety implications for people who are homeless. I asked her, what about safety and security of the residents and business owners who are afraid for their own safety there and don't want parks or don't want tents in the parks or areas near them.
Or crime or drug use or assaults.
And this was her answer. She told me she understands, but you can't just clear out homeless camps and expect that to be good for a long-term solution.
People understandably might not want an encampment near their business or near their residence, but if we're moving people along without actually getting them inside, then they're just going to another place and then they're going to be back.
All right, so there you go. That's what she had to say on homelessness.
Well,
today.
So a couple thoughts on the mayor. First off, kudos to becoming so politically adept so quickly. That press conference was textbook. How to say, I know what all the problems are, and we're going to form a committee, and we're going to exploratory. We're going to make wise, informed decisions. That's pure politicking. We've been beating on the mayor's team and the newly elected mayor for lack of experience. They learned how to do the two-step pretty darn quick. And you're right; these are all issues that have been tried before, but they're solid plans. You know, the thing is though, should we expect the mayor 2 weeks into the administration now, right? On the 1st of January, she was inaugurated.
Yep, that's right.
Or signed in on how do you take it over. You get your key card from the old mayor, whatever the process is, kick him out of the office. I don't expect them to have solutions yet. The fact that she's now addressing this issue and saying we're going to do take educated steps to alleviate these problems, I can't knock her for that. I'm glad you asked whose safety was paramount to the mayor. Not that I think that those experiencing homelessness living on the streets don't deserve safety. They're also citizens, or they're Americans. They're Seattleites, even if they just got here off a bus because we don't, we give away everything and don't push any laws, whatever it might be, new to the city. They deserve safety, but then again, so do the residents, the business owners, the families, the school kids who are in these communities. It's a tough problem to solve, and you can't come up with an instant solution to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. From a journalist perspective, though, what I see happening, and again, the first 2 weeks, but the expectation sometimes is it's a more seasoned team. In other words, as far as
putting together a team that knows how to interact.
Well, being media savvy, And so you hear these answers and you hear a lot of talk. It's almost as if when you ask a question in these circumstances, you're kind of reminding them or you're wondering, because certainly they don't think that, safety of one group is more important than the other, safety of everyone involved in this situation. So that's another clarifying question that I had to ask the mayor. And she said, no, certainly we're talking about safety and security for everyone. But when you ask these questions, sometimes with a new administration like this, when I say new, it's not like they've been doing this before. A lot of them have never done this before.
No, right. It's not just that they're new to this job.
They get tunnel vision, and they don't think outside that tunnel. They're focused on the homelessness issue and what they're going to do about it, but they're not looking at the broader picture. And that be careful what you say, because you might be excluding or leaving out some information that's important.
Well, with regard to moving this encampment, and I understand the mayor saying, where are these people going to go? That's a question that's been asked of this administration or the prior administration, Mayor Harold, and every mayor before him. Sure. As you mentioned, going back to Nichols and far beyond, where do these people go? And we need more resources for these people. Tiny housing, the tiny housing communities, I think, are very effective, and you see them move from place to place to place, and that's just budgeting. That's where you find the money to put a new tiny house in. And I know that people like to get involved with the church community. I'm not trying to with the right terminology here is, but the charitable organizations and various churches that can house these communities. You gotta have everybody involved to solve these problems. I love that she's turning her attention to the fact that without drug addiction focus or without mental health focus on these things, the problems are just going to be persisting and popping right back up without any solution.
Yeah,
that's good.
And it seems with this administration, the Wilson administration, that if your expectation right now listening is that in the city of Seattle, you're not going to see any homeless anywhere, you're not going to see the drugs, well, that's not going to be the case. It seems that is going to be a persistent issue, and the long-term solution that they have come up with is we have got to treat addiction, homelessness, those together at the same time, and we have got to look for long-term solutions. Otherwise, what are we doing? So when you talk about that, it doesn't mean clearing camps and just making it all go away. Giving people a one-way train ticket out of town, it means dealing deep in rooted issues, and that is a tall task for anyone.
And the idea that the mayor isn't clearing out this particular encampment, going to wait to find a better long-term solution. Don't think the mayor's not cleaning out encampments. They've already cleared out 16 encampments in the first 2 weeks.
She's still going to do that and pursue that policy, but she's going to look deeper into what more should we and can we do.
I love that Mayor Harrell cleared out encampments. Guy was big on moving people off the streets and off of encampments. The fact that you can drive in and out of the city now and not see what you saw along I-5 northbound on I-5, southbound on I-5 north of the Ship Canal Bridge. I mean, there was just garbage and encampments as far as I could see till you hit the city limits. The fact that they're gone, I realize that there's not places for them to be. There's not adequate services for them to take part of to get themselves off of this cycle of homelessness, but it's nice to have a city where you don't see that every day, and it's better for the city to not see that every day. The fact that you move people in an encampment, whether they have someplace to go or not, I think I'm for that, because letting them stay and squat and sit, it reinforces the idea. Even if you say you can't be here, go somewhere else, they're getting the idea that this isn't acceptable as a city. You shouldn't be. This isn't your station in life. You shouldn't be settling for this. Maybe that's a real pedestrian and uninformed point of view, but I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
Yeah, I think so. It's also, I live in Seattle. When I drive home through this particular section, it's a busy street. It's an arterial, and even early morning. I get up early mornings. I do Seattle. I work on Seattle Mornings News, and which is I get up about 4 a.m, and when I drive through that early and I see people on the corners, the usual spots and the usual suspects keeled over because they're getting their early morning drugs. Yeah. Heroin, a lot of those drugs are morning drugs. If people don't know, that's when they get them. That's tough to see in my neighborhood. I don't want to see that in my neighborhood.
Nobody does.
And nobody does. What do you do, though? What do you do?
Well, we also have a story about transportation. The mayor had an executive order on transportation issues, or with busing in particular?
Yeah.
What is that?
Absolutely. So she has directed, and this is a pretty quick one, short and sweet, the Seattle's Department of Transportation to immediately paint a bus lane along Denny Way. If you're listening, you know Denny Way. It is pretty jam-packed, especially during busy times of the day, morning and afternoon commutes. It connects, if you don't know, the waterfront and Seattle Center basically all the way up to Capitol Hill, goes up a big hill. The mayor says transit riders have been asking for a bus lane there for years because it takes forever. And the joke among riders there in that area is if they can walk, they bet they can walk up the hill to Capitol Hill faster
than a bus can get in there.
The bus can get up there. That's right.
Do you know what's the parameters of this bus lane? Because when it gets between, say, where Aurora used to go under, now crosses, right? But that stretch up until you get to where the Times building used to be, and I apologize, I don't know these cross streets, to Boren, for say.
Yeah.
That's already, I think, 2 lanes. And clogged.
Yeah.
Is there a bus lane from there beyond to get them to Capitol Hill, which is also pretty already clogged?
Well, one of those is going to be a bus lane now. So if you're driving in your car, I mean,
we're talking about from the water to Capitol Hill, a continuous bus lane between
it's still being worked out, but in the busiest sections of and leading up the hill, there's going to be a bus lane. And then I asked, does that mean a bus lane on either side of the street? Still thinking about that, but definitely, one way. So again, they don't have it nailed down.
Ready,
it
fire, aim for this administration?
Yeah, but yes. And they've also directed SDOT to get it done immediately. But I do have to throw this in there because it was interesting. It doesn't mean that Denny Way is not deserving of a bus lane because it is busy if you've driven on there. But all that said, this is the same bus line that the mayor says that she takes just all the time, that she shuttles her daughter back and forth. She gets to downtown.
I live up on Capitol Hill, fairly near to the Route 8 bus line, so that is my bus. Takes me to my daughter's daycare, so that's a bus that I'm very, very familiar with. I've ridden it for years and years.
We asked her some follow-up questions.
I did. Thank you, because I got questions. What'd you ask?
Well, it kind of harkens back to
my street's getting plowed. That mayor, the snow plows are coming to my street first because I've got to get to work to get the city open. That was I forget which mayor that was. That Nichols who did the bus, the emergency
that was
snow?
Mayor Nichols.
Yeah, it was Nichols. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did the mayor's?
I asked, is there a reason why you chose that route first as opposed to other routes in the city? And the answer was because it is a busy route. Because
she's not the only person.
People have been complaining about that route for years and years, which is true.
Well, at least she didn't say we're going to have an exploratory committee put together and study all the bus lines, which bus lines deserves a bus lane. Well, then accordingly, about 2 years from now, but right before we get it done, we'll find funding for it, and the new city council will be voted in, and nothing will happen, which is what we've done for the last 40 years in this city.
This one seems like it's happening, and she has directed them immediately.
So this already crowded 2-lane throughway between the waterfront and Capitol Hill is going to lose a lane to buses. What, 2% of the population rides public transportation? Is that a fair estimate, 2%? Is that what they're shooting for?
Yeah, but
so the other 98% of us which use those roads are going to be forced to go down to 1 lane instead of the 2 we had going in.
Yes. And
okay, I'm just making sure I got the parameters of this.
And this administration, like a lot of administrations before it, and I've heard this over and over again in messaging, the only way to get people to ride buses is to force them to ride buses.
And therein lies the rub. Is the overarching mission of this to make it so unpleasant to be in your car, to use that commuter route, to make it so bad that I'm just going to get on a damn bus.
Paid parking is part of that as well.
Wow, and bus lanes too. Or bike lanes too.
Lanes, yeah.
Bike lanes, bus lanes, paid parking. Let's just forget our cars. Hey, Mayor Wilson, Detroit's on the phone. They have an issue with your latest maneuvers. Luke, thank you so much for bringing both those stories to us. We appreciate that.
Me, yeah.
We're not looking for controversy. We're not saying the mayor, is just getting herself to work faster by giving a personalized mayoral bus lane. That's not what we're saying. Although we'd like to see if it's possible to just take up a collection among city commuters. If we could pay for an escort and a limo for her to get back and forth to work, could we keep both lanes? We should ask. We should maybe ask questions.
I will ask that.
Thank you, Luke. Luke Ducey, everybody. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the biggest story of the week, the month, in Seattle at least. Saturday's showdown, divisional playoff game with the Niners, whether it's ticket prices, whether it's the fact that we may make history with the crowd response. We'll talk about all these things when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
This is what the NFL playoffs are all about.
The Seahawks win the game!
A dominant Seahawks team, 2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
This is the vision that we had for our team.
Hosting a bitter rival.
Richard Sherman tips it!
In front of the best, loudest fans in the game.
Listen to the 12th man!
Let's go. Seahawks 49ers, Saturday night. Kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Did you know 25% of your home's heat loss is through your attic?
Jake Skorheim here. When hot air rises, if your attic isn't properly insulated, that hot air is going to go right through your ceiling and out your old roof. That sounds cold and expensive. So if your furnace is working overtime, it's time to call Valentine. And right now, Valentine has a great winter special. Bundle attic insulation with any new roof, and you'll save an additional 10% off your entire project. Just call 206 Roofing, and remember, when you see the red Valentine vans, you know your home is in good hands.
Your old furnace ain't nice, and your toes are like ice. DayandNight.net. Day and Night gives you a free furnace or water heater with installation of an AC or heat pump.
If you're not sure your furnace will make it through another winter, call us to install a proper, long-lasting, efficient heating system backed by our lifetime workmanship guarantee, so you won't be left out in the cold.
Install an AC or heat pump and get a free furnace or water heater from Day and Night Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. DayandNight.net.
If you own rental property, you don't want to miss this, especially in today's market. John Curley here from Madrona Financial. Are you a landlord? Are you actually making money? Madrona's Landlord Exit Workshop is a free, hands-on event designed to help landlords understand the true numbers behind their rental properties and make a confident decision about whether to keep them or sell. It's happening in person this Thursday, 3 p.m. at UW Tacoma. Frankly, many landlords are sitting on properties that look good but aren't performing. You'll learn how to evaluate cash flow, equity, taxes, and long-term risks. And if selling makes sense, how to do it in the most tax-efficient way possible. Don't miss Madrona's free Landlord Exit Workshop this Thursday at 3 p.m. at UW Tacoma campus. Space is limited and seats will fill fast. To RSVP, call 833-673-7373. 833-673-7373. Reserve your spot now or sign up online at madronafinancial.com/events.
I'm here with Wes Jones of sellwithwes.com. And Wes, you were just telling me you think 2026 is going to be a rebound year for the housing market.
That's right. I think we're heading into the best real estate market of the past 4 years, and here's why. If you take a step back and look at the big picture, experts are anticipating a 15% increase in sales volume next year. Interest rates are at near 3-year lows and trending down, and home prices have held near all-time highs. There is a lot of pent-up demand. People have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for their time to jump into the market since 2022, and they need a place to buy.
So hey, 2026 might be your year. If you're considering selling your home, if you're thinking about moving, but there was something that was just holding you back, now might be a great time. So do this. Go to sellwithwes.com. You can see your home's real value there with Wes's home value calculator. Then schedule an appointment by giving him a call. Sellwithwes.com. Sellwithwes.com. It really just is a better way to sell your home.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. The first few steps that I took in the morning were pretty painful.
This is Carlos.
I mean, I had been told by multiple orthopedic surgeons that there was no alternative for me.
That wasn't what he wanted to hear. You see, Carlos is an active guy.
I played basketball, and for 3 to 4 days after, my knees would just be so swollen. And now I can play basketball, and there is no swelling. There is no pain in the knees.
No swelling, no pain, because Carlos went to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I'm just happy to be able to be out there. And then knowing that tomorrow I am not going to suffer for this.
What do you say to your friends and family who are in pain?
I say, I had horrible knee pain, and stem cells really worked for me. You might want to go to Dr. Wagner, just get a consultation before you have surgery.
Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. Hundreds of people today protested ICE and deportation flights at the King County Airport.
The event was sponsored by the group La Resistencia, and they were joined by a couple of hundred people. They were here to protest ICE and what they call ICE's violent tactics, and most importantly, deportation flights that happen here at the airport. Here's protester Mickey Rowe.
I think that ICE needs to stop deporting our families. I think that family separation is state violence.
Organizers pledged to continue these protests. One man told me our way of life is at stake. In Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
President Trump says he may use the Insurrection Act to control protests in Minneapolis. Legal expert Lori Levinson.
I want to emphasize that even if there's a protest that has violence that comes with it, that doesn't equate with an insurrection or rebellion. So that's why the act is so rarely used.
Trump made the threat after an ICE agent shot a man in the leg who had attacked him with a shovel. It happened 1 week after an ICE agent fatally shot a woman who the feds say was trying to run him over. A criminal indictment is accusing 17 college basketball teams of fixing or attempting to fix more than 29 games. 20 people have been charged. The Seattle-based Gates Foundation plans to eliminate up to 500 jobs over the next 4 years as it looks to trim operating costs. Meantime, annual spending will rise to a record $9 billion to focus on global health, education, and poverty reduction before the foundation winds down in 2045. Bill Gates has pledged to donate nearly all of his wealth to support that mission over the next 2 decades. The company Gates founded is today sounding the alarm on Washington state's housing crisis.
Microsoft President Brad Smith says the state needs 55,000 new housing units every year. But last year, only 34,000 permits were issued.
We're going in the wrong direction.
Microsoft has spent $750 million on affordable housing since 2019, but even that only preserved or built 16,000 units.
You learn a lot when you spend $750 million trying to solve a problem.
Now the company is out with a new report that urges state lawmakers to speed up the permitting process, open land for development, and reduce costs. Frank Lenzi, KIRO News Radio.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 266 points, NASDAQ ahead 45. KIRO News Radio traffic, here's Lori.
If you're heading out of Marysville, expect some delays southbound I-5 at 529. A stall cleared the roadway, but you've got about a mile backup approaching the scene. 405 southbound at 167, a stall on the ramp causing about a 3-minute delay, Bellevue to Renton. We've got another stall now on 512. It's westbound right there at I-5, still a little slow as you approach the freeway. Everett to Seattle, a 24-minute drive and slowing you down from about Northgate on into downtown. Everett to Bellevue, 26 minutes and a 30-minute drive. Seattle to Tacoma. US 2 just past Skycomish. They're alternating traffic due to some road work. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio weather. Increasing sunshine today with highs around 50. It's 50 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Laura and I are taking the handle today. Jake's spending time with the family. Heather Bosch is going to remain with us for just a couple minutes. Heather, you had a story that I was fascinated by. I saw you working on it yesterday and heard it this morning. Those of us who remember were there for, I was there for Beastquake in 2011 against the New Orleans Saints. That was an amazing day. We were unaware at the time that there was history being made with regard to the fact that you could pick up the earthquake caused by the crowd at CenturyLink, at that time Lumen Now. That's how powerful these 12s are. That's why home field advantage is so important to the Seahawks and why the number 1 seed was so valuable.
Oh, scientists expect the crowd this weekend to be so raucous during that Seahawks 49ers game that they've actually installed earthquake measuring equipment inside Lumen Field. And you mentioned the inspiration for that.
Oh, my word! A 67-yard run! Marshawn Lynch! Unbelievable! He must have knocked 5 guys down on the way to the end zone. The Beast is alive and well.
Yeah, this became known as Beastquake after the 12s actually triggered that seismic equipment.
That one was kind of just serendipity that we discovered that there was a seismic signal when that happened on one of our regular stations that was across the street, actually.
That's Harold Tobin. He heads the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. I got to talk with him, and he tells me they've actually installed 6 seismometers directly inside Lumen Field.
We use the same exact kinds of seismometers we use for all of our earthquake installations. When the ground moves up and down or side to side, it just measures that motion.
He says they'll be streaming the results live and sharing them on social media. So there is an educational component to this. But he also admits
it's mostly a fun thing to do. We're doing it because we know that the 12s are amazing and are going to shake the stands and shake the ground all around it.
And he said there could be another Beastquake moment because he does expect the 12s to bring it, Spike.
So it's funny. We've had these stories all week long, and they're kind of related. I'll tell you how. First off, the 12s are a formidable weapon. That's why they call them the 12th man. You literally can have an impact on the outcome of the game. It was New York Giants were in town. I think it was 11 false starts. The NFL record were registered because of the noise generated by these 12s. And I know that they've also done this a couple other years. They put them in place in the stadium in 2014, 2015, 2017.
Yes.
And they also registered seismic activity during those moments of those seasons, but not a record-breaking like the one we had in Beastquake.
And I asked him about, is it like an earthquake? He says you really can't compare Beastquake to an actual earthquake. There's no real magnitude. However, he told me.
What I can say is the amount of shaking was the same as we would feel at Lumen Field if an earthquake of around magnitude 3.5 to 4.5 happened, let's say, around Bremerton or 20, 30 miles away from Seattle.
So not insignificant. Remember, it's not an earthquake. Things aren't breaking and it's not widespread.
Yeah, but also keep in mind that this stadium is built on ground that's landfill that could liquefy if we get too
It's not going to liquefy.
It's not. Okay, fine. We talked earlier in the week about how the team was limiting the ability for season ticket holders to sell their seats.
Yes, because they want the Seahawks in the stadium. They don't want you selling it to a 49er.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, that's because it happens far too often in the league. And and season ticket holders were threatened with maybe the possibility of not being able to renew their seats next year if they sold tickets that they paid for, that they own the rights to. And there's a lot of debate on whether that's good or bad or ugly. But I think, the fact that we want that crowd, that loud crowd, that raucous, shaking crowd.
Because you remember the pick that happened. What year was it?
The tip in 14.
Yes,
2013,
Richard
2014.
Sherman.
Yes.
It was the same kind of setup. 49ers versus Seahawks going at it in the playoffs. Richard Sherman with his hand just in the right place at the right time.
I was listening to Gene Ursula this morning, and we showed a picture. I was in the end zone for that play.
You were.
It's funny I mentioned that because
note to self, I got to hang out with you more.
Yeah, I don't sit there anymore because, to be completely fair, it became too economically unfeasible for my family to maintain my Sunday indulgement of being down in that end zone. I was in that end zone for the tip. Next year, I was in that end zone for Jermaine Kearse's overtime catch against the Packers right in front of me. I was down there for Beastquake in 2011. That seat for this particular home game, if you're looking for seats for the game, for Saturday's game, of course, you're going to have to buy them on the aftermarket when some season ticket holders may lose their... Between $500 to get into the cheapest available seats up in the nosebleeds and the higher upper echelons. So there's not a bad seat in Lumen. It's a great stadium, but up to $20,000 per seat.
$20,000 per seat.
Per seat. And that seat, it's funny. I bring that up because that's where we used to sit in those seats. And yes and no, because In the southern end zone of the field, the stadium used to end where the physical seats of the stadium ended, and there was a 20-foot or so, 30-foot to the back line of the end zone. The Seahawks, about 10 years ago, they put a luxury row in front of the first row in the stadium.
Wow.
And there's 2 rows of waiter service and catering and all that. And they're swells. That's the seat that's $20,000 a piece.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if you
I'll be sitting at my local pub.
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
They know me. I walk in and they say, "Where's the remote? There's a game."
You don't have to miss a play to get food because they bring it right to you and not having to spend $20,000 a seat to do so. Early in the week, I mentioned that I saw on social media that the city was going to clear out Hawk Alley, which is Utah Street between the Starbucks headquarters and Lumen Field. Yeah. Well, it's funny. We were talking to Sully, and I said, "Hey, I don't know if you saw this, but they're going to clear out Hawk Alley." And I did some research, and they said, no, there is no official plans to do that before Saturday's playoff game. Well, we now know that they did.
Yeah.
And there's been reporting from Q13. Go ahead.
Yeah, KIRO 7 TV, we ran the story today. The city officials were telling them that it had been on the books. It had been on the books for some time.
Happy coincidence they did it before the national media came to town. Well, there's a gentleman called Captain Seahawk. And he's one of the super fans of Seattle. When I was down in that corner of the end zone, your story on My Northwest about the seismic measurements this weekend features a picture of my very dear friends, Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk, Jeff and Dee Dee, who were married on the 50-yard line of the Kingdome. They've been doing this. They're in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as super fans, and I hope that Captain Seahawk will also someday earn that honor. But he was interviewed through. Was this for Q13 or for KIRO? That Captain Seahawk was.
This was Q13, the audio that I pulled.
And I say, Fox 13. When I think Seahawks and I think my glory days in the end zone, it was Q13 back then. Now it's Fox 13. Credit where credit is due. So Captain Seahawk put a social media post up asking about, can we do this? Can we restore this treasure of tailgating prior to Seahawks games for this very important game?
I asked a question on Facebook, who would come down if it was cleared up? And I drove down here, and it was just full of campers and tents and people living along here. Got all this negative response, like it's dangerous, my windows will be smashed, it's dirty, it's smelly. And I'm here right now, and it looks beautiful. I can almost eat lunch off here. It got cleaned, and I'm like, what the heck happened? To me, it was like an act of a football god. Right now, I'm working with Seattle Parking to have this blocked off for 2 weeks.
Well, and that's the thing about moving. We talked about earlier in the news or earlier in the show today about Mayor Wilson's not going to clear out the encampment at Burke Gilman down in Ballard Commons, and the cities. If you move people's encampments, they're just going to come back. And Wallace Watts, is, I know him as Captain Seahawk. Wallace Watts is the gentleman who's making this effort public. They wanted to ask, he's working with Parks to see if they can make sure that if the Hawks are able to win this week and then play again next week, they would host the NFC Championship game, that this treasure would be available to Seahawk fans.
It's about accessibility, too, because as you pointed out, there are a lot of us who cannot afford to buy tickets to go to the game.
Right.
But there's a certain number of us who also just want to be in the area, hear the roar of the crowd, and be close enough that you can kind of experience it, whether you're in one of the local pubs or tailgating outside. You want to be able to do that.
We used to spend pre-games down in Tailgate Alley, Hawk Alley.
Yeah.
When I was a season ticket holder, and there was people that would regular designated spots and they'd go on the day before the game and park their RVs down in that row to save their spots, get there before sunrise, set up their tents, their pavilions, start the cooking process, and communities were built, and visiting fans would come through and enjoy the camaraderie and the ribbing between Seahawks fans and Niner fans and whoever it may be. All these NFL cities have this rich tradition of tailgating. A lot of places let you do so on the grounds of the stadium parking lots. Seahawks don't do that. Yeah. So these little treasures like Hawk Alley, like Tailgate Alley,
got to make them happen.
So kudos to Captain Seahawk for making that happen.
All right.
By the way, those $20,000 seats.
Did they get sold?
No, but that's where he sits, down in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys got the scratch to make it happen.
Duly noted.
Yeah. Thanks for your reporting, Heather. We'll look for I don't know what you would call this one. There
will be a name. There will.
Depending upon the play itself that caused it. Thank you very much.
The play and the player.
Yeah. All right, folks. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Jake Skorheim is out today. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about a program from Big Brothers and Big Sisters that I saw in the Seattle Times today about mentorship and how valuable it is. We'll be right back after these.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
It's time to eat, boys.
The first obstacle, a hated rival.
Purdy has time, throws to the middle, intercepted.
Victim to some of the greatest playoff moments in Seahawks history.
Welcome to the dark side. Richard Sherman tips it. Whole city going up like it's our time.
Seahawks 49ers.
All teed up.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
You know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine.
Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through January 25th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
I love the fact that Mike Novak sells more homes than anybody else. This guy works so hard. You know what's happening? People are selling their homes again. And if you don't have Mike Novak's name on that sign, well, you're wasting your time and your house is just going to be sitting on the market. Mike is so confident that he can sell your house quickly. And for more, you'll pay no commission if Mike Novak doesn't sell that home in 21 days. So go to meetthenovaks.com. I'll spell Novaks for you. Novaks. MeetTheNovaks.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
More than 4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients, and you can help us make a difference. Join us for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of wine tasting and inspiration on January 31st at Mary Hill Winery in Woodinville's Wine Country. Get your tickets now for Cork, Fork, and Support. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. Now through February 1st, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Your windows and doors play a huge role in your home's efficiency and comfort. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors for windows that are up to 25% more energy efficient than Energy Star standards and reduce noise by up to 50%. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com today.
It's hiring season at Sky Nursery. Hi, I'm Jen, greenhouse manager here at Sky, where we've been proudly serving Seattle area gardeners since 1953. Sky Nursery is truly a fantasy plant land, but it's also a bustling environment that takes a great team to succeed. Whether you're making coffee, cashiering, or on the sales floor, we're looking for applicants who like to learn, adapt with the seasons, and go home knowing they made a difference in somebody's garden. Spring is fast approaching. Find open seasonal positions and benefits at skynursery.com.
Welcome back to the Jake and Spike Show. So I'm looking through the morning paper, as I tend to do, finding out the stories that matter to you in your life. And this one is, it's not a news story, it's not a lead story, it's a human nature story, it's a personal story. It's about the value of mentorship, and it highlights the Boys and Girls Club in Seattle, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Now, I've known people over the years who have served as big brothers or big sisters, and that's just a mentorship to people who are often without a guiding force in their life, a guiding example in their life. And it just made me realize the value of mentorship. And not to, I'm lucky. I've been mentored, I want to say, by people in my life that have taken an interest in me and saw maybe a potential in me to become something, and a proclivity or a talent for something. One of my mentors in my life, and I wish I'd taken greater advantage of it, was Dory Monson. And Jake will tell you the same thing. Now, Jake had the ability to work with Dory for 7 years as his producer. Now, I was the competition. I was across town. My greatest mentor was, I would say, Bob Rivers, because he saw something in me as a complaint caller to his radio show in Baltimore, hired me as a writer and a performer, and then brought me to Seattle from Baltimore, my hometown, to learn how to do radio. And can somebody still be your mentor when, they're paying you to do the job? I mean, he's my boss.
I think even more so.
I would think so. Mentor, your boss is a mentor, but mentorship, I think, when someone doesn't have to take an interest in you. Your boss has a vested interest in making sure you achieve to your highest potential, that you do the work required, that you learn from your mistakes, and you're given insights to greater success and finding the way forward. Andrew, you've been doing what you do for years now. But when you started as a young man interested in radio and, in the board operator and the producers of shows, you, I'm sure, had somebody in this industry that saw you as a young kid with talent and interest. And do you have a mentor in this industry?
I think, I have a few. And I think that what you're saying about, I see what you're saying about your boss has somewhat of an obligation to be your mentor, but I think it's still a form of mentorship. It's still valuable, and it's still something that helps you move forward. That's different from someone who I have found who has not my direct report, or I don't directly report to him, but he sees the interest that I have in other parts of the industry and is pulling me along. And
there's somebody today that's still doing that for you.
Right,
That's awesome. You don't want to add them. You want to keep it going down low. Probably it's fine. I respect that. I mentioned Dory because here's a guy that worked for the other company at the other station that, it's funny when we at the Bob Rivers Show decided that we were going to try to do more of a talk show, even on the rock station, the classic rock station eventually. We were going to do a talk show and not just a music show where we talk for little bursts in between Stones records or whatever it was. And Dory Monson reached out to Bob Rivers and said, and invited him out to have lunch and have conversations. And, what do you need to do, Bob, to be more inquisitive? What's the difference between what Dory was doing and what we were doing? And Dory mentored Bob. Bob mentored me, and Dory would constantly kept an interest in what I was doing and how I was doing. When I wasn't here, before I got here to KIRO, Dory did that. When I got here to KIRO, Dory did that even more so. So it's the people that take an interest in you and how valuable that is to people. Lord, is there someone in your life? Because you, as a young woman who aspires to this industry, this is an industry that's pretty dominantly male. It's. I think now. Well, I'm
kidding. Obviously, it is.
Well, when I started 36 years ago, there were two women that worked at the station. There was the office manager and the receptionist. And then they finally figured out that female voices mattered to an audience who was largely female. You better have some representation and some perspective from the females in your city, in your industry. And that's how women moved into radio. Who were your mentors or did you have any?
Well, easily Ursula Reutin.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, she brought me in to do an ad at KIRO when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. With her son, Steven, we did a holiday magic voicer. And ever since then, I've just loved talking into a microphone and being at this station. She helped me do a job shadow right when I was out of college here. Left my resume on the desk.
Beautiful.
They called me like 6 months later. Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
I owe a lot to Ursula.
We say that to folks to say this. If you have the opportunity to mentor somebody, even if it's short term, take it. It's worth it. It makes you feel better as someone who can share knowledge with people who are interested in the things you're passionate about. It's a great idea. All right, when we come back, we'll turn our attention a little further than the city of Seattle. Look at some national news because it's coming at us fast and furious. It's the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Don't go anywhere. Got a lot more coming up today. We'll be right back after these messages.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
It's time to eat, boys.
The first obstacle, a hated rival.
Purdy has time. Throws to the middle. Intercepted.
Victim to some of the greatest playoff moments in Seahawks history.
Welcome to the dark side. Richard Sherman tips it. Whole city going up like it's our time.
Seahawks 49ers.
All teed up.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
You know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine.
Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
There is one real estate agent who's been helping KIRO listeners longer than anyone else, and that's Wes Jones with sellwithwes.com. Wes, you've helped KIRO listeners in good markets and more difficult ones. What do you think has been the secret to your success?
Thanks, Brandy. Experience has taught us that to outperform the market, we needed to do things differently from the status quo, that we needed to do more. Our exclusive system covers innovative marketing locally and internationally, leading to more eyeballs on your home, better listing prep for better showings, negotiation strategies that eliminate pesky buyer contingencies, and generate stronger offers. Through our exclusive client programs, our sellers enjoy an extraordinary marketing experience utilizing techniques a traditional agent cannot offer.
So if you want to sell your home faster at a higher price and with fewer contingencies, if you want more, visit sellwithwes.com, sellwithwes.com, a better way to sell your home.
Thank you, Dr. Wagner.
I have a really bad left hip. In fact, this other doctor's like, well, you're going to have to get a hip replacement. I was like, oh my God. He goes, how old are you? I told him, well, you're going to have to wait a couple of years because we don't want you to wear the hip out. We want you and the hip to both go to heaven together. I was like, well, in the meantime, well, try stretching, aspirin. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm in pain. I can't sleep. I could barely walk. I'd get off a plane and I'm like struggling to even make it down the ramp. I go to see Dr. Wagner. He explains to me how the stem cell procedure works. It's 90 minutes, and I'm telling you right now, I love it. So rather than surgery, make an appointment to see Dr. Wagner. It could be the game changer for you, like it's been for a whole bunch of other people as well. So whether it's your hip or your wrist or your shoulder, your knee, check out Dr. Mark Wagner. I'm telling you right now, stem cell procedure could be the answer for you, as it's been for me. You want to find out more? drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Start the new year taking active liver supplements from New Nordic. Online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump threatens to crack down on protesters in Minneapolis as the ACLU in Minnesota announces a class action lawsuit against the federal government and its immigration operation. CBS's Lana Zach is there.
The president posting on social media that local officials need to do more to stop and control protesters. Otherwise, the president says he will invoke the Insurrection Act against the state of Minnesota. Minnesota, as you'll recall, had issued a lawsuit against the federal government, arguing that the agents here were acting in an unconstitutional, unlawful, and unnecessarily aggressive manner.
Controversy over ICE agents from Louisiana to Minneapolis and New York has some cities rethinking their relationship with immigration enforcement. CBS's Allison Keyes.
The police department in Austin, Texas is changing its rules on how officers report people to ICE. This after the detention and apparent deportation of a Honduran mother and her 5-year-old daughter earlier this month. The APD says officers may, but are not required to call ICE. In New Jersey, state lawmakers passed a package of bills aimed at severely limiting cooperation between state and local agencies and ICE.
At the White House, President Trump has met with Venezuelan opposition leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado. He has not endorsed Machado to be Venezuela's next president, as some thought he might after Nicolas Maduro's arrest. Meantime, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says U.S. officials have spoken to Venezuelan leaders.
They have been extremely cooperative. They have thus far met all of the demands and requests of the United States and of the president.
President Trump has declined to take military options on striking Iran off the table, but says he has been assured the killings have stopped. Middle East expert Mona Yacoubian says these protests have been effective against the government.
The threat that they pose, that we have seen the regime crack down now with brutal and lethal force, and that has led to somewhat of an abatement of the protests, at least for now.
25 years ago, Wikipedia was born. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
The online encyclopedia was founded by Jimmy Wales.
25 years ago, I set up the website. I typed the first words, hello world, which is just something that programmers do when you write a new language or something like this. Now it sounds quite poetic, hello world from Wikipedia.
It's still funded by donations instead of ads. It's content, community-driven, with volunteers maintaining the information. Wikimedia says it's among the top 10 most visited global websites and the only one to be run by a nonprofit.
Stocks closed up on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to the official 48 Hours After Show post-mortem on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
New numbers about assaults on buses. That's coming up at first. KIRO News Radio Traffic. Here is Lori.
And traffic is brought to you by the Seattle Seahawks. Southbound 405 right at 167. We've got a stall on the ramp, making your drive Bellevue to Renton just 16 minutes. Looks like you're backed up to about Brunson Way. Another stall, State Route 512 westbound. It's right there at I-5, backing you up from Ainsworth Avenue. Linwood to Seattle, a 16-minute drive. Slows from Northgate on into downtown. Now, if you're heading out of Seattle to Everett, that's going to take you an extra 10 minutes. Linwood to Bellevue, also 16 minutes, and 31-minute drive Seattle to Tacoma.
Head to Seahawks.com/tickets to secure your playoff seats today. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. Kane County Metro says for the first time in years, assaults on bus drivers and passengers are down. KIRO 7 TV Brooke Griffin reports.
Metro officials say in 2025, 55 incidents were reported involving a driver feeling threatened. Out of those, 7 met the criteria for criminal charges. That's compared to 78 incidents in 2024 and 63 in 2023.
We are committed to creating a safe work environment.
But the drivers' union says that's not enough.
It was just over 2 years ago that bus driver Sean Yim was killed by a passenger. Metro says it will continue to make safety improvements. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson issued her first executive order establishing a dedicated bus lane along Denny Way.
At least one lane, maybe two, one in each direction along Denny Way. The mayor says riders have been asking for a dedicated lane there for years, her included. It's the same line she says she uses to get back and forth to her home.
Especially during rush hour, man, you can go out there and, you think that the bus is coming and you're still sitting there 20, 30, 40 minutes.
The mayor has directed SDOT to paint that lane immediately. In Seattle, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Mayor Wilson today also took her first action on the homeless crisis. She created an interdepartmental team to initiate policy changes and identify land to expedite expanding shelters and other housing. A homeless camp that sprung up in a once popular tailgating spot along Lumen Field has been cleared. More from KIRO 7 TV's Allison Amoy.
We caught up with one of the most recognizable Seahawks fans, a man known as Captain Seahawk, who says he put out a call on social media to clean up a street known as Hawk Alley, where tailgates were held in the past.
2 weeks ago, this was all full of tents and RVs. It was just like a homeless city.
Captain Seahawk says that environment has kept fans away from Hawk Alley. But some in Soto say the cleanup was not for the big game. The timing was simply a coincidence.
Scientists expect the crowd at Saturday's Seahawks playoff game to generate so much energy that they've installed 6 earthquake-detecting devices inside Lumen Field. The inspiration, Marshawn Lynch's 67-yard touchdown in the 2011 playoffs.
He must have knocked 5 guys down on the way to the end zone. The beast is alive and well.
Rockies fans triggered seismic equipment near the stadium in what became known as Beastquake. KIRO News Radio weather, increasing sunshine today with highs around 50. It's 50 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill, along with Laura Scott, our producer. Andrew's on the board today. Laurie's in traffic for us. Jake's taking a day with the family. How's your soup, Laura? I don't need to blow my own horn.
Oh, it's so good. Spike brought in this Irish vegetable soup.
Yeah, baby.
It is incredible. It tastes like there's dairy in here, but there's not. It's just super, super creamy.
It is. What you're tasting there are potatoes that have been super blended. I think, I would just go with whiskey, but I waited till while the potatoes were still in potato form and not liquor form. There's no booze in it. There's no dairy in it. Now, my wife and I found this recipe, or we found this soup when we were at a place in Ireland enjoying some family vacation, maybe 20 years ago now.
But who's counting?
And we went back this last spring. I took my kid to Ireland for graduation from college, and a couple years late because of COVID. Long story short, I found this soup again. I found the recipe. I've been tinkering with it for about a year and a half now, and I've got it dialed in.
Yeah, you can tell it. This is dialed in. I was eating the saddest leftover salmon bowl, which was cold because I was trying not to microwave fish at work and be that person.
Good for you. Thank you so much for good office
then
etiquette.
Spike walks over with this beautiful mug of gorgeous golden Irish soup.
Thank you very much, Slancha.
It's so good.
Days like today, you need soup. We had some call outs in the office. Folks were fighting the flu, were fighting the chest cold, head colds. I know Sully was fighting his way through it this morning and yeomaned up and got the job done for you. I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow. I'll bring more soup. Hey, I want to take a quick moment. I know we're going to talk about the national scene today, whether it's And, there's lots of stories about the Trump administration, about ICE activities, about civil protests, civil unrest, civil rights. Before I get that, though, I'm so lucky that the customer service division of Verizon sent me this wonderful text about my points, my reward points expiring, and I should use them before they expire. I think that's wonderful. I got a long text about how to use my points and my rewards and what's available to me, and a link I can click on. And then I'm saying,
a link, you say?
Yeah, a
with
link I can
urgency.
click on. Yeah, and I look at the number that came in from Verizon Customer Service Rewards Division. I didn't know they were based in Chile. Ironic. Yeah.
Oh, Verizon goes international.
Yeah, and I should mention I'm not a Verizon customer, so how I have reward points, I don't know. The scams are fast and furious, folks.
Don't click that link.
I didn't click the link. I didn't click that. I didn't click the link from Nichelle at yahoo.com telling me that my outstanding Washington Department of Licensing enforcement notice is about to go delinquent, and I could lose my WSDMV violation database. Oh my gosh, I could go to jail. I better click on the link and pay this fine. This link that's based out of Barbados, I think it looks like here. Folks, do not. I mean, we've told you 1,020 times. Always, if you know, first off, Washington State Department of Licensing has said repeatedly, we brought that story to you months and months ago, they won't send out texts providing links about overdue fees or penalties. If you ever get a request for a penalty, to avoid a penalty, that you've got something in delinquents, you're about to be sent to whatever, wherever, from whoever, don't reply to any random text you don't recognize, you didn't solicit. If you've got coverage with Verizon, which I don't, but if you see a text coming in, because it's funny, I got a text and Jasmeet, who works for KTTH in social media, got the exact same phone call I got, like simultaneously, from these robot scammer phone callers. If you get something that you think merits your attention or gives you concern, reach out to the people they say that you owe money to directly. You instigate the call yourself. Call Verizon. Call your carrier if they say you've got a reward or overdue bill. Don't let a scammer get the best of you, because once they get into your world, they come in like it's tentacles. You never get them out. I should call as the Attorney General. Washington's Attorney General. No, I should go higher. I should call the National Attorney General. I should call Attorney General Pam Bondi, because she works for me. As the nation's leading law enforcement officer, she works for me. And she should make sure that you and I aren't getting scammed by people like this. But I can't call the AG because she's busy. She's on with Sean Hannity. Do me a favor. Can you play this clip real quick? Here's what I want to say. Yesterday, we brought you the story of 6 prosecutors of the Department of Justice who were resigning because they were directed to investigate the widow of Renee Good, the citizen shot and killed by ICE officers, ICE agents in Minnesota. And we're not debating the validity of the shoot or the validity of her civil rights to be out there publicly protesting. They were instructed to investigate the widow. This comes on the heels of the DOJ's Attorney General for Civil Rights declining to investigate the officer, Jonathan Ross, for the validity of the shooting. They're going to decline to investigate that, but these prosecutors were directed to investigate the widow of the victim of the shooting. Again, we're not debating the legality or validity of the shooting. So these guys resigned, and Pam Bondi went on TV last night on Fox News, which I tend to watch because I want to see how the other side lives, and she had this to say.
They want to be part of the resistance. Yeah, bring it on. They're not going to be working for Donald Trump and the Department of Justice any longer. So get ready. Good riddance to the 6 that are gone. Our great other prosecutors from around the country are coming in to protect the men and women of ICE.
Okay. Well, I'm all for them protecting the men and women of ICE. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand my concern here, my confusion here, because these 6 prosecutors who resigned because they didn't think it was a valid directive to investigate, look to vilify the widowed of the victim of the shooter in Minnesota. Those prosecutors don't work for Donald Trump. They don't work for Pam Bondi. They work for you, Laura. They work for Andrew. They work for me. They work for the citizens. They work for the widow they were asked to investigate. Pam Bondi doesn't work for Donald Trump. She works for me. Donald Trump works for me. That's, I think, the problem with a lot of these elected officials and the various department heads and secretaries that are appointed. They have there's a fealty required to the administration and its policies that seems to, I think, ignore the fact that elected officials are just that, elected officials who work for us, who are accountable to us. Pam Bondi says these guys want to go work for you want to work for the resistance? They are, by definition, by classification. You're a prosecutor in the Department of Justice, whatever division that you find yourself in. You work for the American people. You're paid by the American people. Pam Bondi was put in place by someone we elected, and she should have been confirmed by representatives that we elected. They all work for us. We have the right to ask them to do work on our behalf. And if these prosecutors felt they were being, used for political retribution, they felt that's why they resigned. They've got the right and they've got the obligation to speak up and to resign. And she went on the entirety of the broadcast with Hannity's was smearing them. They're looking for jobs. They're out interviewing for jobs with liberal law or blah, 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 blah. Just campaign assassination or character assassinations on these guys who stood up for what they felt was, the liberties and civil rights and constitutional rights of the widow of that shooting in Minnesota. So there's a couple issues we're going to get to this break. I just want to get that out there first, get that off because it was right in my face and I could not believe this. I want to say this. Jake's not here today. And when Jake's not here, I tend to go a little deeper into my own personal opinions and beliefs. And I don't have Jake to push back or at least ask me to see things from the other side of the aisle, from a different perspective. We try to, Jake and I, who have sometimes different ideological priorities and beliefs and sensibilities, we tend to challenge the other's point of view, to offer counterpoints of view and ask to be considered. And Jake and I, we're trying to get better at this. And we think we're doing a pretty good job. Since Jake's not here, I ask you, the listening audience, want to be Jake for a day? For a couple minutes at least? If you hear something that I say that you want to question or counter, if you want to add to or contradict or ask more, feel free. Please text the show, 888-973-5476. I've asked Laura, that's why I buttered her up with homemade soup, to monitor the text line. And if somebody texts in with a counter to something I'm saying, I know that these guys work for the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi works for the president. I understand those dynamics. Let's not play a semantics game of who, but people who work for the government, they essentially work for you and me. There's not an us. The whole us and them thing is the problem here. So let's get moved beyond that and talk about the issues of the day. And if before you think I'm just bagging on all things Trump, that I've got TDS, I don't have Trump devotion syndrome. I can actually look at him and call him on things that I see that I don't agree with. Yesterday it was announced that the Trump administration was going to cancel up to $2 billion, $1.9 billion in federal grants to over almost 1,800 plus different organizations that work with mental illness and addiction. Of all the stories that we bring out the course of the day, whether it's the homeless issue or crime issue or drug use issue, mental health and drug addictions are paramount pillar foundational reasons we are facing these problems as a nation and a city and a society. So the Trump administration yesterday was announced we're going to cut nearly $2 billion in funding, not explaining why. Today that was reversed. Trump administration came out today and said they are not going to cancel these $2 billion in funding. And they don't give an explanation as to why they initially made the decision or that they had reversed that and these 1,800 plus different organizations that rely on federal funding to do the good work they do in your city, my city, to help eliminate drug addiction, to help eliminate mental health crises that are on our streets and in our communities. I'm glad. Kudos to you, Trump administration. You did something great. I love it. Now let's turn our attention to things I'm not so crazy about the Trump administration. Trump administration is, let's not even get into the insurrection. Okay, let's do it. I was going to get this, but let's do it. The Trump administration announced this morning, at least President Trump announced this morning, he truthed this morning, which I also have a problem with. You shouldn't be making declarations through Truth Social, but that's Donald Trump. It's how he is and who he is. That he is considering invoking the Insurrection Act because of the civil unrest we see in currently Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we've seen in other cities around the country. I did some research and I reached out to some folks with educated opinions and education on these issues. President has a lot of leeway in invoking the Insurrection Act. I did a research into what exactly is the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act should be, by definition, it's in the Constitution, that it should be requested by state officials. Doesn't have to be, though. The president has the ability to invoke the Insurrection Act. If a civil unrest, if civil disobedience, How do I phrase this right? I'm paraphrasing because I read it earlier. It doesn't prohibit, but it interferes with the state's ability to enforce laws, both of state governments or federal governments, if need be the case. And that's what Donald Trump sees here. Civil unrest, rioting, violent protesting is prohibiting the ICE agents from performing their federal duties of immigration law enforcement. One of the side effects of the Insurrection Act is the president gets extraordinary emergency powers that he gets to wield without congressional approval or whatever requirements constitutionally there are from a federal or state level. So when people protest in Minneapolis or Los Angeles, or you pick your city, Chicago, Nashville, other places where the president has sent in D.C., sent in National Guard troops, sent in ICE agents to quell what they see as an invasion by illegal immigration into this country. When people protest violently, it justifies the president's consideration, if not implementation, of the Insurrection Act. Because I'm for protesting, for exercising of civil rights. Greg and I had a great conversation. Greg Tomlin yesterday had a great conversation about, whether ICE agents are the villainous monsters they're being portrayed as in the media, or if these are cherry-picked, isolated incidents among nearly 330,000 arrests and detentions exercised by ICE in the last 13 months. Are we getting a misrepresentation? So that's a fair question to ask. We don't mind fair questions. We also asked, do citizens have the right to protest? Of course they do. Yesterday, a protester in Minneapolis, St. Paul, I believe it was actually, was shot in the leg by an ICE agent after assaulting an ICE agent with a shovel and a broomstick handle or some. I don't have quite the details, but he assaulted an agent. Agent shot to defend himself. I have no problem with any of that. I think when people protest, what they see is the excessive practices of ICE agents in the field. It's not what we signed up for. It's not what the law allows in many, many cases, and people have the right to protest that. But when people turn violent, it puts that on the table for President Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act. If he does decide to do so, a lot of people speculate, and maybe it's paranoia, maybe not, but that would give the president the right to suspend midterm elections. If there's a national emergency that wants the Insurrection Act, we could not have midterm elections. President Trump said on Air Force One 2 days ago, maybe we don't need midterm elections. We're doing such a great job. We've accomplished so much. We probably don't even need midterm elections. I mean, these are, when people tell me that I have Trump derangement syndrome and I worry about these things and I'm just blah, 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 when these things tend to pan out to be real, then maybe it's not just, derangement syndrome on my part. President Trump's going to say he's going to cut off federal funding to blue states because of fraud in various states, whether it's Minnesota, which has been incredibly investigated, prosecuted, sentenced criminals, cases of fraud in Minnesota. There's also now President Trump saying it's even worse in California. We're going to look at them too. The president doesn't have the right to just arbitrarily decide I'm going to cut funding because of allegations of fraud. I'm not saying there's no fraud. Before you get me into the, are you saying there's no fraud? Of course not. I'm not saying there's not crime from protests. I'm not saying there's not criminal illegal immigration. But there are guidelines and checks and balances in our system in place. The reason we've had it for 250 years is because we have these systems in place where we make sure it's the right thing to do. We don't just go off on one person's point of view. A king. I'm not saying he's a king, but that's kind of how kings like to act. So the president doesn't have the right to just cut off funding to blue states because of allegations of fraud. There was a case last summer where the president threatened to cut off funding for blue states, and judges in, I think it was California, actually it was like 18 different cities sued the federal government because the president had alleged, had signed an executive where he's going to cut off funding for these blue states. He's not allowed to do these things. Lori, looking at me like there's questions coming in from the audience. Are there? Please let me know when they do.
Well, Jeff in the 206 says, Spike, that Trump was joking about
about what?
The midterms.
He was joking about the midterms. Yes, he was. And 6 months ago, he was joking about invading Greenland. In fact, I asked our own Jason Rantz one day. We had him on the show. And I said, well, what do you think about, this talking about he's going to go take Greenland. Yeah, it's just joking about that. And yet here we are 6 months later that the U.S. is going to actually, we have the right to take Greenland. That Denmark has no, what's their validity to their claim on Greenland? To upend the entirety of the world order since the end of World War II, to maybe undermine NATO in general, if the USA decides they want to take Greenland. So when he's saying maybe we don't need midterm elections, maybe he's joking, but also when you talk about putting the Insurrection Act on the table, Jeff, at the 360, was it?
206.
206, my apologies, I didn't mislabel. Maybe he is joking, but he always tests these test balloons he seems to float, President Trump. I'm going to put this into the ecosphere and see how it plays. And then you see people on the conservative side of the aisle, elected officials and media, rally around to justify these. These were just jokes. These are just musings. This is who Trump is. He speaks off the cuff. He shoots from the hip. Ready, fire, aim. I don't know if he's joking about midterm elections. I mean, I don't know. I was told he was joking about Greenland, but here we are. NATO is putting troops in Greenland. Denmark is sending troops. France, England, Germany, talking about sending NATO troops because this administration says we have the Don Roe doctrine where we can just take over whatever we want in the Western Hemisphere for the betterment and the safety and for the security of the United States. That's not how the international system that has been in place since the end of World War II, giving us the longest stretch of peace in recorded history, where there have been no major conflicts between major superpowers since the end of World War II. It's the longest stretch in history. There have been skirmishes left, right, and center, of course. Talking about there hasn't been a massive, hugest armies in the world dust up since then, and then that's all on the table. So forgive me if I'm a little paranoid.
Well, speaking of taking whatever you want, most of the texts we got were asking for your soup recipe. So I will make sure that we get that posted online.
I'll write it up, and yes, we will. We'll share that on this chilly, damp winter day in Seattle. I would love to share my Irish vegetable soup recipe. You bet. It's the Jake and Spike Show, and as you can tell, Jake's taking the day off. When we come back, we talk briefly about mental illness. We've got a staffer who's doing something, and I don't want to label it. I don't want to judge. We're going to talk to a KIRO staffer who does something that I worry. I wonder. I worry. I'll be right back after these. Don't go anywhere.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
This is what the NFL playoffs are all about.
The Seahawks win the game!
A dominant Seahawks team, 2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
This is the vision that we had for our team.
Hosting a bitter rival.
Richard Sherman tips it!
In front of the best, loudest fans in the game.
Listen to the 12th man!
Let's go. Seahawks 49ers, Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto-pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey
everyone, Hartley Wilcox here. And I'm Charlie Wilcox from Wilcox Family Farms. Our family's been raising hens and gathering fresh eggs right here for over 100 years.
That's right. Our hens roam free on green pastures, soaking up the sunshine and living their best chicken lives.
We don't do shortcuts. No cages, no chemicals, just honest-to-goodness eggs laid fresh every day.
And when you buy Wilcox eggs, you're not just getting breakfast. You're supporting local farmers like us. Clean food, and a family that's been doing it right for generations.
So next time you're at the grocery store,
skip the out-of-state eggs and grab the ones with our name on them.
Wilcox Family Farms. Fresh, local, trusted. Find fresh Wilcox eggs at Costco, Hagen's, or Whole Foods. And for a healthy snack on the go, grab some ready-to-eat hard-boiled eggs in a convenient to-go 2-pack. Wilcox Family Farms eggs, locally fresh since 1909.
What a good move I made. Let me tell you a quick story. I've done a whole bunch of races and a bunch of other stuff like that, and my left hip started bothering me about 5 years ago. And I go to the doctor, and he's like, you need a hip replacement. I was like, I'm 60. Yeah, we're going to ask you to wait a little while because we don't want you to wear the hip out. We want you and the hip to go into the grave at the same time. I said, what do you do about all this pain? Well, you could, aspirin, and you could continue to do this and that and, sleep with a pillow between your legs. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Then I was talking to Bob Stelton over there at the sports department. So he went to Dr. Mark Wagner, and I think he had his hip done as well. So I go in there. I said to Dr. Wagner, can you fix my hip? Takes a look at the MRI. Yes. So I got the stem cell procedure. I'm telling you something. This is the best. If you've been thinking about, surgery for your knee, your wrist, your shoulder, or hip, no. Check out Dr. Mark Wagner and go to drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Confidence with winter driving starts at Subaru of Puyallup. Find stress-free pricing and a stress-free experience at SubaruofPuyallup.com. Subaru of Puyallup, your stress-free dealership.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. King County Metro says for the first time in years, assaults on bus drivers and passengers are down. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin reports.
Metro officials say in 2025, 55 incidents were reported involving a driver feeling threatened. Out of those, 7 met the criteria for criminal charges. That's compared to 78 incidents in 2024 and 63 in 2023.
We are committed to creating a safe work environment.
But the drivers' union says that's not enough.
It was just over 2 years ago that King County bus driver Sean Yim was killed by a passenger. Metro says it will continue to make safety improvements. A big anti-ICE protest rally happened this morning at the King County Airport. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch was there.
The event was sponsored by the group La Resistencia, and they were joined by a couple of hundred people. They were here to protest ICE and what they call ICE's violent tactics, and most importantly, deportation flights that happen here at the airport. Here's protester Mickey Rowe.
I think that ICE needs to stop deporting our families. I think that family separation is state violence.
Organizers pledged to continue these protests. One man told me our way of life is at stake. In Seattle, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Mayor Katie Wilson has issued her first 2 executive orders, including expanding efforts to create emergency shelter for the homeless. Her new executive order creates an internal team to identify incentive plans, permitting changes, and other policy changes to bring the the homeless inside. The order also calls on identifying public land to rapidly expand shelter and housing needs. Mayor Wilson says simply clearing homeless camps is not a long-term solution.
People understandably might not want an encampment near their business or near their residence, but if we're moving people along without actually getting them inside, then they're just going to another place and then they're going to be back.
Wilson says her order is only the beginning and she wants to see progress before next summer's World Cup. Microsoft is sounding the alarm on Washington's housing crisis.
Microsoft President Brad Smith says the state needs 55,000 new housing units every year. But last year, only 34,000 permits were issued.
We're going in the wrong direction.
Microsoft has spent $750 million on affordable housing since 2019, but even that only preserved or built 16,000 units.
You learn a lot when you spend $750 million trying to solve a problem.
Now the company is out with a new report that urges state lawmakers to speed up the permitting process, open land for development, and reduce costs. Frank Lenzi, KIRO News Radio.
And now your KIRO News Radio traffic with Lori.
Well, we have an accident 167. Actually, it's not an accident, but it's very heavy northbound 167 as you approach 405. There was something there earlier. Northbound I-5 now approaching 528 in Marysville. We have a stall. It's on the ramp coming off of 528, but definitely causing a slowdown as you head past that. Seattle to Everett, an 8-minute delay at 36 minutes. Bellevue to Linwood, a 19-minute drive. That's going to cost you just 2 minutes. Bellevue to Federal Way is a half an hour, and Tacoma to Olympia, 31 minutes. And the Seattle to Bremerton Ferry is on an extended one-boat service all week long. This weekend, they'll get back to 2 boats. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Thanks, Lori. Now your weather update. Partly sunny this afternoon with highs right into the low 50s. Friday starts off with morning clouds and mostly sunny by the afternoon. And looking ahead to the weekend, looks sunny with low 50s straight through. Mostly cloudy and 48 in Seattle right now. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
We're back, folks. It's the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Jake Skorheim taking the day. Laura Scott's our producer. We have a guest in the studio now, and I want to back up just for a second because when I tease this segment of our show, I may have disparagingly misrepresented the employee that's honoring us with his time and his presence and his expertise. Frank Summerall is are you the executive producer of My Northwest? Is I'm giving you a fair, proper, and accreditation?
Lead editor.
The lead editor of My Northwest. All things that you hear on this radio station, you can find at your convenience and in greater detail sometime with additional media support on My Northwest. And Frank, you make sure that what gets on that page is what the community needs and wants to see. And thank you.
Yeah.
And we're out of time. I'm kidding. I heard something about you, and my first initial reaction, my judgmental reaction may not have been warranted. There is a story today in the New York Times that speaks to the people in our lives who love their pets, and we all do. I adore our family pup. Fawn over this pup. Laura's a cat lady.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
wait a minute. Let me again. Here I am, but I'm just throwing these pejoratives around left, right, and center. Laura loves her cat.
Yeah.
Doesn't make her a cat lady. You just got the one still, right?
Yeah, JD
Okay,
Vance.
yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Whoa! Okay, the gloves are off.
For a second, I thought that's what your cat's name was.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
I've got 19 cats. They're all named JD Vance. Call me what you will. That's brilliant. So you've got a pup?
I have 3 cats at my house.
You're a cat guy.
It's 3 now?
It's 3.
Last time I talked to you, it was just 1 cat.
Yeah. Well, we Brady bunched
Was the
it.
cat pregnant when you got it? You didn't know? 'Cause
No,
that can happen.
she was a mom. I had the 1 cat, and then my girlfriend has 2 cats, and then we merged. So now we have 3
You're a cat
cats.
family.
1
That's
plus 2.
Lovely. We can add, buddy. Move on.
Cheaper by the dozen. Yeah.
You buy cat food in bulk. I get it. Move on.
Big time. Big time.
So the reason we asked you to come in today, as I mentioned briefly in the story by the New York Times, there are people, and we've all seen them, who, and I got to quit being judgmental. They have strollers for their pets, whether it's a dog or a cat. They have a stroller so that when they can enjoy the outside world, they can enjoy that with their pet in the company of their cats. For your sake, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, I was doing it before the New York Times was even writing about it. So like
cool
the lashings and the whippings I took over having this, like you throw whatever you got at me. I've been taking it for years. Now it's becoming cool, and I was ahead of the curve. And it's fantastic. It was a fantastic read. New York Times, well done. I understand why it was on your homepage, considering all the news that's happening this week. I think this is
We're looking for
important.
safe harbors from the news of the day. And cat strollers, that's where we're going.
Now, for the people who are doubters and are haters to this idea, I understand that you may be thinking, I may be overreacting and making up for some lack of detachment or an absence in my life, but that's not what we're here for. There are actual benefits to having these cat strollers.
We have a kid in our family, but enjoy your cat. Go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look. Why
that would hit home, didn't it? Look at you.
why can't the cats go on adventures too? Why is that dogs only? Is it because they could be trained better? Is it because dogs are nicer? Like, probably. But why not? Like, I'm a walker. I go out and walks.
Yeah. Yes.
My cat needs to go out there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe cats are better because they don't go on walks.
And then the whole New York Times article actually had great points about like handicapped dogs or dogs suffering illnesses and they still need to go out. My cats aren't in that situation.
They're just fat and lazy.
Yeah.
Like myself.
Now,
could you get a bigger stroller and take me on your walks? Would that be okay? I'd love that.
Yeah, we can figure something out.
Like hold the 3 cats.
I'll hold the 3 cats. There you go.
Frank, you push.
One thing that's getting lost in all this is for the people at home who have pets and they never get tired and they're barking all day or they're meowing and scratching and clawing all day, playing with them incessantly does not tire them out.
Right. They need to be outside walking. They need exercise.
It's sniffing.
Oh.
That tires out a pet, particularly dogs, but for both pets. So when you get your cat out there and it's sniffing, it's going crazy, the people who are in the know, we call it a sniffari. But that's okay if you guys didn't know that.
Have you coined that yet? Have you trademarked that?
Oh, it's in the know. It's in the trades.
I mean, you're such a trendsetter with the whole stroller thing.
They go out there 20 minutes, all these new smells, all these new senses, all this new environments, and all of a sudden they're knocked out, and it's wonderful. So that you get to have your cake and eat it too. You get some great cat bonding, and then you go home and it's not driving you nuts either. There are real benefits to having this.
I'm seeing it, man. And it's funny because I made the quick assessment, the quick judgment of your choices. But as I read the article in the New York Times and I think about the story more, it's better for the owner. It's better for the pet. And the only people I have a problem with are those who are not in the know, like formerly myself, who are so judgmental, so quick to judge, not see. I mean, it's a little off-putting when you see a pet in a stroller. It's just not something we're used to.
Well, you expect to see a baby, and you lean down to coo, and then you,
Well, according to the New York Times article, you know who loves it? Babies. Babies and kids, when they see a pet in the stroller. They love it. You know who else loves it? I guess construction workers, according to the articles.
You get cat calls? I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Now, Jake Skorheim's not here, but I can feel him burning holes into my skull staring at me.
He's yelling at the radio at home.
Because he's like, this is curbing people from having kids. Well, there was a study that said if you put your pet in a stroller, the chances of having a kid increases. So, Jake, it actually works in this favor of growing families and whatnot.
How so? Is it because you get to meet people? And the social engagements increase?
Who's approaching you with a cat in your stroller, though? Like, what kind of...
You're cute and all, Fred, but when I say
ask that, if
you're a man without fear.
A good-looking guy in your neighborhood with a cat in the stroller, I think that wouldn't deter you.
No, it wouldn't deter me, but I'm weird.
There we go.
A lot of people, they cross the street, they don't have to interact with you. So, I mean, just saying. Here's my point, Frank. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I really am, because not only are you giving your cats their best life, you're bonding,
and
you're giving yourself a better life.
What are the consequences of spoiling your pet? The consequences of spoiling a child? There are some.
Horrible.
Your pet?
Yeah, they throw you in the worst.
It just gets fatter and lazier and cuter.
And loving you more.
Oh, yeah.
Depending upon you more.
It's the best. Go on more sniffaris, everyone.
I'm using that when I get home. Frank Sermo, you're a gem. You're a treasure.
Nice to be here. Laura, happy belated birthday. Spike, was great seeing you.
You too, my friend. All right, when we come back, folks, you think he's got a problem? Wait till I tell you about the next couple. We want to bring you the story about a wedding that took place. It was lovely, I'm sure, but it wasn't convenient for anybody, especially the people who had to use the bathroom. We'll be right back.
The Closing Bell is brought to you by Trajan Wealth Management.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
It's time to eat, boys.
The first obstacle, a hated rival.
Purdy has time, throws to the middle, intercepted.
Victim to some of the greatest playoff moments in Seahawks history.
Welcome to the dark side.
Richard Sherman tips it.
Whole city going up like it's our time.
Seahawks, 49ers.
All teed up.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
You know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine.
Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Sometimes we hang on to our old attorneys and coaches too long. They've been around, they've done good work. But when the legal game changes, you need a team that is hungry to win now. At Bible Law Group, we're that faster, hard-hitting legal team, ready to fight for every inch in the courtroom. With over 40 million closed for our clients, we know how to win, and we're ready to take on the biggest legal case of your career with you. Don't stick with a playbook that's gone stale. Switch to the legal team that's ready to win now. Let Bible Law Group be your linebacker in the courtroom. Find us online at BibleLawGroup.com.
Guys, low energy, low drive, or strength not what it used to be? For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Washington, start with a free T-Check exam and consultation to get real answers. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. Call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must medically qualify.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hartley here from Wilcox Family Farms. I'm so excited to have my cousin Amelia with me today. So I saw that you visited the baby chicks.
I got to hold 7 of them. They were so cute.
Do you know why Wilcox chickens are so happy?
Because they get to play outside?
Yes.
Happy chickens are healthy chickens.
From our farm to your table, Wilcox Family Farms eggs, locally fresh
since 1909.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event going on right now through January 25th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event going on right now. Discover the D.R. Horton difference. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
This is Lynn. She's always been active, maybe a little too active back in the day.
When I was 19 years old and immortal, I stripped out all my ligament and I had to have 6 knee surgeries, and that's on my right knee. And then my left knee finally gave out and had a torn meniscus.
Years of pain followed until she saw Dr. Mark Wagner at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I'm 4 months out and I have no pain in my knees, and I have had knee pain my whole life. I have no concept of what it was like without pain. It's a miracle. I'm totally thrilled.
No pain, no limits.
Dr. Wagner gave me the green light to ski again this year. I'm like, that's incredible. So I'm just so excited.
After years of surgeries and setbacks, Lynn finally got her freedom back.
I think he saved my legs, so saved my knees, and gave me at least another 10, 15 years to do what I want to do.
If joint pain is holding you back, find out what stem cell therapy could do for you with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's hiring season at Sky Nursery. Hi, I'm Jen, greenhouse manager here at Sky, where we've been proudly serving Seattle area gardeners since 1953. Sky Nursery is truly a fantasy plant land, but it's also a bustling environment that takes a great team to succeed. Whether you're making coffee, cashiering, or on the sales floor, we're looking for applicants who like to learn, adapt with the seasons, and go home knowing they made a difference in somebody's garden. Spring is fast approaching. Find open seasonal positions and benefits at skynursery.com.
KIRO News Radio has your chance to win 6 tickets to the Seattle Boat Show, January 30th through February 4th at the Lumen Field Event Center. Head to mynorthwest.com/win to enter and see contest rules. That's mynorthwest.com/win for your chance to win.
Start the new year taking active liver supplements from New Nordic. Online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Save $600 on windows and $1,500 on doors at Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Enjoy easy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest financing for 12 months, plus a lifetime installation warranty. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today.
Hey there, Don Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. It's our clearance savings spectacular, and you don't want to miss it. We're slashing prices on all 2025 hot tubs, saunas, and swim spas. Even bigger savings on floor models ready for delivery. And here's the best part, 0% interest financing through 2031. That's right, no interest for 5 years. Ends January 25th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Jake Skorheim is home with the family. Laura's in. Andrew's in. Lori's in. Oh, I remember my wedding day. Yes, everybody remembers their wedding day. It's no big shakes. We got married, Melissa and I, the truly unpleasant Mrs. O'Neill and I got married on the East Coast. Melissa knew maybe 6 people of the 100 or so that were in attendance at our wedding. Melissa's mom flew back with us, but that was the only family that Melissa brought to the wedding. And we did it at Christmas because the church was decorated in a Christmas vibe.
Oh, pretty.
It was really beautiful. It was, plus we were young people, didn't have a lot of money. The wedding, we didn't have to decorate the church. We were decorated for Christmas. We didn't have to, we had a reception at a Moose Lodge, the Fraternal Order of Moose. You know, if you know what a Moose Lodge is, you're missing out on cheap alcohol and big fun, and pull tabs. So I say that to tell you about a wedding that took place aboard a Southwest Airlines flight. And we have a little bit of audio from the, not impromptu, because they had planned this out pretty well, but a surprising ceremony on this flight.
Yeah, impromptu for everyone on the plane.
136 unsuspecting new friends.
And you're gonna notice something right away in this audio that is a big reason why I think that this isn't a great idea.
Not only are you embarking on an adventure of marriage, but you're doing it amidst the clouds, surrounded by 136 passengers turned to newfound friends. They say love knows no boundaries, and indeed, thanks to Southwest, it now knows no altitude.
Lovely.
Really?
So they made an announcement. What's your problem? First off, is the audio quality?
It's the audio quality.
Yeah. Right?
That is not a good wedding video.
Oh, I think so.
Someone who works in sound production. This would be maddening to me.
I don't know if you could bring a little speaker on, like a karaoke boombox with a microphone. I don't think they'd get that through security.
Well,
but it would have been better.
Here's what they're using. They're using the little announcer button thingy.
Attendant, please return to your seats, up back right condition, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
it's
quality
got,
where you can barely understand what anyone's saying. And it blocks you from viewing any entertainment media on the flight. Whenever they say, you know how it says announcement in progress and it pauses your movie.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So what happened was they came over and said, folks, we ask that you remain in your seats as a courtesy to the bride and groom. And literally people who were unaware this was going to happen, they have the bride walk all the way down the aisle.
The literal aisle.
The literal aisle.
Yeah.
Her groom, her husband-to-be, is standing up by the front of the plane. They did say, if you have to use the restroom, please use the restroom in the back of the plane. So, folks weren't stuck.
People had an option.
Folks, right. And they exchanged their vows, and the officiant said, now by the authority, by the powers vested in me by the state of Ohio, then she said Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska. I mean, you're 30,000 feet. They now pronounce you man and wife, blah, 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 blah. And when the plane landed, and the people were lovely, and they clapped and applauded, they passed a guest book around.
That I actually thought was the
plane.
cutest thing, would be to have everyone on the plane sign the guest book.
It's sweet, but if you're going to do this, here's my thought. And I wish them nothing but happiness and love and success. The plane landed, the jetway was decorated with just married. They had a cart waiting for those airport, little golf cart-ish things, luggage carts, to take them away with just married.
With the cans off the back,
cans trailing behind up down the concourse with for their luggage, and I hope their honeymoon wasn't at the airport. That's horrible. If I'm doing that to an airplane full of people, though, I'm like, right? Open bar, free drinks.
Yeah.
Catering. Does everybody get a hot meal? Did you guys, is everybody getting free food, free snacks, something? Or I'd say,
that's still
put the
a wedding on a budget.
Yes, put the father of the bride's credit card on thing. Let's get the drinks flowing out here. It's a wedding. Was there dancing in the aisle? I don't think so. It's cute. It's adorable.
I wish I didn't hate it as much as I do.
I'm
happy for them.
I'm happy for them, and I wish them well.
Yeah.
He's up there in a shirt and tie, and she's in a lovely dress. Lovely lady. That's great. There's more I don't like about it than like about it. The 136 new friends, unsuspecting
more
friends.
Like captive audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that the memory you want? I mean, maybe it is. How did they pick a flight? How do you pick a flight to have your wedding?
My biggest question was, how do you coordinate this with Southwest? Like, are you emailing them?
Well, clearly you don't just, hey, can we? They wouldn't let that happen. You have to, and there was a decorated jetway.
Yeah,
it was
this was
prearranged.
A coordinated effort. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm on the flight and if I'm a real dirtbag, I'm emailing Southwest today. Hey, I was horribly inconvenienced by a couple who thought it was okay for me to be forced into my.
Can I get a free drink on the next flight?
Yeah. Can I get a comp flight? That ruined my flight experience. It ruined the movie. Can I at least have my rental fee back for the movie? I don't know how it ended.
Oh, can you imagine paying for Wi-Fi and then being totally unable to use it?
Hey, text us 888-973-5476. Would you do this? Would you ever do this? What's the weirdest wedding you ever were a present for, or maybe it was yours that you had? I mean, I thought ours was a little different because my wife didn't know anybody, but it was still in a church. And, my friends were there. I don't know what matters. I've seen weddings on beaches. I've seen weddings on mountaintops. I've never seen a wedding. I saw a wedding at the 50-yard line at the Kingdom. I mentioned Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk earlier. Jeff and Dee Dee had their wedding in front of 76,000 newfound friends.
That would be fun.
And it was harder to go to the bathroom that day than it was on that flight, too. So I'll give them a little more credit. All right, folks. It's the Jake and Spike Show. We'll be right back after these. Don't go anywhere.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan. Presented by Carter Subaru.
More like Choke Point. The new year brings a big new headache for the thousands of you commuting south on I-5 into Seattle. The latest phase of Revive I-5 is underway, and it won't be finished anytime soon. I've got you covered with traffic on the 3s every morning from 6 to 9 on Seattle's Morning News. Nate Connors has you covered every afternoon. We're always hunting for alternate routes, and we'll help you get where you need to be a little faster. On KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
It's clogged again.
Your drain?
Just had it cleared.
You didn't call Apollo Plumbing.
How can you tell?
Because your drain's clogged again.
So frustrating.
We can clear that drain.
That's what the last guy said.
We'll clear it, guaranteed.
He said that too.
Apollo Plumbing will clear your drain, or it's free.
Wait, what?
Apollo Plumbing clears your drain.
Or it's free?
Yep.
What's the catch?
No catch.
Fine print?
Apollo Plumbing clears your main drain for $83.
$83, or it's free?
And we'll even give you a camera inspection.
Because?
It's the best way to find what's causing your clog.
But that's extra.
Nope. Included.
No extra charge?
Not 1 cent.
$83, or it's free.
All it takes is an accessible outside cleanout.
And an Apollo plumber.
No clog is safe from Apollo Plumbing.
And just like that, my main drain is...
draining again.
How can you...
Apollo plumbers are that good.
83, or it's free.
You call, we come.
My drain's draining again.
Guaranteed.
83, or it's free.
As it should be.
Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
More than 4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients, and you can help us make a difference. Join us for Cork, Fork, and Support, an afternoon of wine tasting and inspiration on January 31st at Mary Hill Winery in Woodinville's Wine Country. Get your tickets now for Cork, Fork, and Support. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. For strong candidates, the right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Guys, if you want the greatest night of your life, I mean your best night ever, then you gotta hear this. There's a new ED pill out, and it's from the makers of Viagra. It's their first new ED pill in over 20 years. This new super pill is called Viagra AGV, and it's unbelievable. It works super fast in only 11 minutes and lasts up to 14 hours, thanks to its new vasodynamic delivery system. Plus, it's FDA approved and safe. There has never been any ED pill like it. It's unreal what it does to you. In testing, Viagra AGV crushed every other ED pill. It destroyed them all. And now, 9 out of 10 urologists are recommending Viagra AGV over any other ED pill. Every man alive needs to try this new Viagra AGV super pill at least once. Then you'll know why men are going crazy over it. So if you want to have the most incredible night of your life, you can't miss this. Go to scoreblue.com and try it while supplies last. That's scoreblue.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy troops to stop ongoing protests against ICE officers in Minneapolis, where CBS's Lana Zak is.
When I spoke with protesters about whether the president's actions or the actions by the federal government will have a chilling effect on their actions, they said all of this just continues to embolden them.
3 U.S. officials tell CBS News that an ICE officer shot a Venezuelan national in the leg last night in North Minneapolis after the officer was allegedly attacked by men with a shovel and broom handle. Minnesota ACLU Executive Director Singh Mayal has announced a class action lawsuit against the federal government for constitutional rights violations, saying that what is happening affects everyone.
The rights to be free of unlawful search and seizure and to be free from warrantless arrests and racial profiling.
There has been an intense diplomatic effort in the Gulf region to avoid U.S. strikes on Iran because of protests there. That approach is not sitting well with some of President Trump's allies in Washington. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
A Gulf official says Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, and Egypt have been involved in intensive diplomacy and have been urging the U.S. to refrain from strikes on Iran. That approach angers Senator Lindsey Graham.
After President Trump empowered people to feel like their freedom was at hand, that you actually believe we should wind this down and you're okay with the regime standing after all this, I don't want to be aligned with you.
The White House is still insisting all options remain on the table for the president.
An investigation into a sprawling betting scheme to rig NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association games has ensnared 26 people, including more than a dozen college basketball players. U.S. Attorney David Metcalf.
The defendants would identify a game in which a corrupted player had a team that was favored to lose, and then they would bribe said player to deliberately underperform so that his team would lose by more than they were favored to. They would bet for them to not cover the point spread.
The allegations cover a period between September 2022 and February 2025. President Trump, in an online video, unveils his framework for a health care plan that he calls the Great Health Care Plan to possibly replace the Affordable Care Act.
My plan ends the giant kickbacks to insurance brokers and corporate middlemen that only drive up the costs, and that's what they're intended to do, drive up the cost. But we're driving down the cost.
By, he says, cutting prescription drug prices, reducing insurance premiums, and holding insurance companies accountable. He's calling on Congress to immediately pass the framework. Stocks closed up on Wall Street today. The Dow jumped 293 points. The Nasdaq rose 58. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS News Roundup on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Newly elected Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson issues her first executive order. More on that following a visit to our KIRO News Radio traffic desk, where we say hello to Lori.
Hello there.
Hello.
Traffic is brought to you by Subaru of Puyallup. Seattle to Linwood right now, a 7-minute delay, 23-minute drive. We have an accident 405 at southbound right at 522, and that one's in the right lane, slowing you down as you approach the scene. Bellevue to Linwood right now, 18 minutes. Bellevue to Federal Way, 33 minutes. And if you're heading from Federal Way to Tacoma, that's going to take you just under 10 minutes at 9 minutes. Tacoma to Olympia has dropped down from 31 to 30 minutes. Confident winter driving starts at Subaru of Puyallup. Find stress-free pricing at SubaruofPuyallup.com and enjoy a stress-free buying experience at Subaru of Puyallup, your stress-free dealership. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson has issued her first executive order to paint a dedicated bus line along Denny Way, which is one of the busiest routes in the city. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey explains.
At least one lane, maybe two, one in each direction along Denny Way. The mayor says riders have been asking for a dedicated lane there for years, her included. It's the same line she says she uses to get back and forth to her home.
Especially during rush hour, man, you can go out there and, you think that the bus is coming and you're still sitting there 20, 30, 40 minutes.
The mayor has directed SDOT to paint that lane immediately. In Seattle, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
A driver on I-5 was able to keep their hands on the wheel despite being shot in the back Wednesday. This happened near the West Seattle Bridge. Investigators say this started with a car following another car too closely and may have developed into a road rage incident. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson.
They are still looking into everything that led up to these shootings here in Seattle. So they're asking anybody who was driving along that stretch of I-5 before noon to reach out to them if they saw anything, especially if you saw a dark blue van.
Another gunshot victim was dropped off at Harborview about the same time, but police do not believe the incidents are related. 8 years in prison for a federal wayman after a drug deal went wrong. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery explains.
Investigators say Daniel Lopez paid two men $2,500 expecting a delivery of cocaine. When that didn't come, he found the wife of one of those people and kidnapped her at gunpoint. He held her for 2 days in Seattle before his associates drove her and her husband's co-conspirator to the Mexican border and forced them to walk across. The woman was picked up by authorities there and sent to her country of origin, Guatemala. She apparently didn't have legal status in the U.S., so investigators here checked she was safe and then barred her from coming back. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
4 Washington school districts are under federal investigation. The U.S. Department of Education announced Wednesday that it has launched Title IX investigations in 10 states, including 4 in Washington, Cheney, Sultan, Tacoma, and Vancouver. Complaints claim these districts allow students to join sports based on gender identity, not biological sex, allegedly discriminating against women and girls. The Vancouver School District says it was notified of the investigation but cannot comment while it is underway. And now your weather update. We're supposed to start to clear out here this afternoon in a high around 50. Tomorrow starts off cloudy, turning mostly sunny by the afternoon, 52 for our Friday high. It's trying to clear up out there, but still mostly cloudy and 48 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Spike O'Neill. Laura Scott's here with me. Jake Skorheim's home with the family today. And we've got some breaking news, and it's the kind of news story when you hear it, first you want to verify and you want to look around and check. And I think we're the first people to bring it to you. I haven't heard anywhere else yet. You will hear it today. And no, we haven't invaded Greenland. No, I didn't hit the Powerball. It has now being reported by numerous sources around the NFL that Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold is being listed as questionable for Saturday's playoff game against the 49ers, 5 o'clock kickoff at Lumen Field, with a strained oblique muscle. This is according to numerous reports. Ian Rappaport has bought this. Adam Scheffler has this. Seattle Sports is confirming this. We've got some audio of Darnold we'll play right now about his interview with the press, or his comment to the press after practice today at over at the VMAC.
Kind of felt a little something oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go Saturday.
He feels like he'd be ready to go. That's the question now. So now comes why we have sports networks and sports radio and all the things. This is manna from heaven for sports radio. But as Seahawks fans, with the biggest game we've had in a long, long, long time at home as the number 1 seed, NFC West champion. From what I'm hearing from the folks over at Seattle Sports in particular, Bob and Dave, I was just conferring with them before they went on the air, before we got back from break. Apparently Sam Darnold was, as he mentioned in that clip, they pulled him from practice as he felt this little tweak. His oblique, I believe, is the muscles along your rib cage, which is when you're a quarterback, you feel them every time you move, every time you throw. But the fact that they removed him from practice, took him off the field, sent him in for some therapy, as he mentioned there, is why they have to report that to the NFL. By league rules, you can't hide injuries from the league. You have to notify the league, which means now the Niners know. So when he was pulled from practice, they were required by league rules to notify the league itself. The media then gets wind of it. They start to talk about it. And he's listed as questionable, which is the protocol when someone has been removed from practice. So Darnold says he feels like he's going to push through this and play. There was a precautionary move on the Seahawks' part. So there you have it. And I was telling some folks off air here, the Drew Lock, does this mean Drew Lock will be recorded? No, it doesn't mean Drew Lock. It means Sam Darnold is still your quarterback, and he will do everything he can, and this team will do everything it can to put him on the field on Saturday. But he's also a valuable piece of this organization, not just this Saturday, but should we win the following Saturday, and if moving forward into the multiple years left on Darnold's contract, they're not going to do anything to put in danger or risk further aggravation or more serious injury to Sam Darnold. So we'll keep you posted as we go, as we learn more. So there you have it. Darnold now questionable after leaving practice with an oblique injury today over at the VMAC. He is questionable by NFL definition, but expects to be playing on Saturday against the Niners, 5 o'clock. Moving back to the other stories of the day. Now my phone's blowing up. Thank you very much. That's why I got to turn the ringer off. I'm getting good at this. All right, Laura. We had talked about what to cover next. Let's do this. There is a effort by Washington lawmakers. They are asking for the right to conceal their home addresses, conceal information, personal information about Washington lawmakers in public records. This is the proposal is facing criticism from representatives of open government and media groups like ours and some public agencies, who warn it would expand a zone of secrecy for elected officials while creating costly headaches for the offices that hold public records and those of us who seek public information. It's House Bill 2333, sponsored by Rep. Liz Berry out of Seattle. It would prohibit the disclosure of residential addresses for state and local elected officials in property records, campaign finance listings, voter registrations, and other documents. Now, the reason they say that they need this is because, as we've mentioned in so many instances, the climate of political division in this country, the increase in tempers and temperature from both sides, whether it's liberals or conservatives, have led to far too many instances of safety risks and safety threats. Pramila Jayapal, was it a couple years ago?
Yeah, back in, I believe it was 2022.
22, I thought so, 2022, yeah.
She had a alleged stalker show up to her house, allegedly yelling all kinds of racist things at her.
And the examples are everywhere throughout state legislation or state governments, federal governments. People are keyed up and they're passionate about their points of view and they're angry at the other side, whatever side you're on. So these lawmakers are asking for some sense of privacy and what they feel would lead to a sense of heightened security and safety for them. I personally feel like this is something that they should get. I mean, if we're going to have situations where the public, who has a right to know, they have a right to know what's going on and how your legislators vote and how they what they campaign on and all the things that they do, how they're acting on your behalf or against your best interests in the legislation. We have a right to know what they do, But they have a
and
right
where
to safety.
exactly they live, and
Well, what do you think? Do you think that we have a right to know where they live, given the fact that people can show up with a bullhorn? Well, I've been, it's funny. I was immediately for this secrecy, this privacy, as it's being framed. But I'm all for people filming ICE agents on the street. If it's legal for an ICE agent, for a citizen to record an ICE agent in their operation of their duties, it's also public rights to be sitting on the sidewalk out front of a private home of a legislator to issue your vocal complaints about the way they do their job. I mean, where do you draw that line?
I guess I was thinking more like boring logistics, like making sure that someone actually lives in the district that they're representing.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Right?
That they're not
I think
carpetbagging.
Yeah, that kind of transparency matters, and being able to say, wasn't it Dr. Oz when he ran
in Pennsylvania for the
yeah.
Senate, didn't even live in the state, lived in New Jersey.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we knew that because
Public
addresses are
records.
publicly listed.
I hadn't even thought about that. No, now I'm it's just a tough nut.
We
I'm
also
not
knew
sure.
that Bruce Harrell lived in a ritzier Seattle neighborhood and Katie Wilson was in a one-bedroom apartment. And that definitely played into the rhetoric around our most recent mayoral election, right?
Absolutely true. So I guess if you wanted to have heightened security and safety for those elected officials, maybe that's where you put the efforts and the resources to making sure that security is where it needs to be. And not just don't let anybody know where they live because we can't keep them safe. I mean, they know where they go to. If people are going to be acting in bad faith and causing harm or ill intent to our elected officials, they're going to find them. They're going to find them at work, or they're going to find them on their commute. They're going to find them at public events. Should the homes be safe harbors, safe havens? I'm nothing with regard. I don't have any notoriety, but we have a public job. A lot of people know who we are and what we do. We have always kept very close. Closely guard the information of my kids, where they go to school, where they, I've been a little more liberal with that as my kids have grown. When they were smaller, we were much more intent on keeping this information private. But then again, I'm not an elected official. The taxpayers don't pay my salary. That brings a different element into the equation. So we'll see, and just see how this plays out. Here's another question that's going forth in the legislation this week, or just today. I heard the story earlier in the show. There is an effort to, let's put it this way. Sheriffs are elected in this state, okay? Sheriffs are elected. Now there's a House bill being introduced in Olympia. It's Senate Bill 5974. That would give an appointed committee, the ability to remove a duly elected sheriff from their job should they lose their certification as a peace officer. That's the legislation. And I'm wondering what you think about that. Give the audience, 888-973-5476. We elect officials. If we don't like what job they're doing, we have a chance to unelect them, to vote them out at the end of their term, the next election cycle. Should a state-appointed board of directors who review the accreditation, the certification of a sheriff to do his job as a peace officer, okay? Should a board decide that a sheriff has lost his certification, should he be allowed to continue to serve because he was publicly elected? Or should this board have the right to go in and say, look, you've lost the ability to do your job. You can't be the elected sheriff of this county if you're not even a certification of a peace officer. Do we leave you in because you're elected? Is the will of the people greater than I think the greater good of the people is when someone who is not meeting the requirements of that job, certification as a peace officer, if you can't do the job, you shouldn't hold the job. I personally am all for giving this board the oversight to say if you can't keep your certification to be sheriff, you don't get to be sheriff. And it goes against the will of the voters. I'm all for the will of voters, but it's got safeguards. This committee can't do this unless this person has they have a valid reason to remove this. It's not because they don't like his policies. It's not because they don't like the way he does business or his social media accounts. There are, requirements of every job that you meet certain, whether it's, there's a terminology. It's in our contracts, it's in my contract. You can't speak ill about this, that, or the other. You can't make inflammatory comments about this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
There's a responsibility to the community. There are standards. One of which is the job requirement to be a peace officer. If I can't do that, I shouldn't be sheriff. All jobs have the right to hold qualification requirements. And if a person can't meet the requirements of that job, they shouldn't hold the job, even if they were elected. Right? I mean, if I don't know why it's even an issue for people. I heard G this morning saying, the guy is elected. That's the will of the voter that you're undermining there. But even if it's the will of the voter, if someone's voted in by the people, they were voted in with certification, or like I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong, you can't run for sheriff unless you hold the accreditation required to be sheriff. And if you lose that, don't you forfeit the right to hold that office regardless of the will of the people?
Well, I would put it this way, regardless of waiting for another election, for people to say, well, you don't have the qualifications that you used to have. You haven't shown any dedication to this job. Because people, there's term limits, right? But then that means that someone's kind of safe unless there's a recall. I don't know. I'm kind of falling where G fell on this morning, and you have to respect the will of the voters. I mean, would you say that Donald Trump was eminently qualified to be the president?
There are. It's a great analogy to bring up, but there are systems in place. Should the cabinet or Congress censorship, impeachment, though there are mechanisms in that place. Even though it's a great example to bring up. There are systems in place. Should Donald Trump lose the faith in the elected officials who can impeach and remove him from office, invoke the 25th Amendment.
Well, he's been impeached before, just not removed.
But not convicted. That's
sure.
the thing. Impeachment requires charges being brought up for impeachment. He was impeached twice. Impeachment is, we all know this. I'm afraid we know this far too well because of all the incidents we've had of late in this regard. The impeachment process sends a president before the Senate to vote on whether he should be removed or not, and that's where it failed to happen with the Republican-controlled Senate, blah, blah, blah. They failed. They didn't meet the threshold of impeachment. But when it's an elected sheriff and you don't have the certification to hold your job, I think you lose your job. I think it's a pretty easy call to make. So
well, and you bring up if it's an easy call to make, why is it hard to maintain that qualification, that certification?
Yeah,
right?
I do want to know more. How did this sheriff lose his certification as a peace officer? What was required that he didn't? Was it just failure to take one of this? We have tests we have to take here. For our employees,
little don't get scammed.
Don't get fished in by an email. Don't open an email you don't know where it's from because because with just reason. I don't mean to belittle it or minimize it. When we open, we get tons of contact from all sources here at KIRO News Radio. When we open an email on a company computer and it's not a valid email, they train us how to recognize scams and phishes and all these things that we do, right? And if we do that, if we subject the company to the risk of a hack and our systems being compromised, then that's why it's required that we maintain these training and accreditation, certification, that we know how to properly use our company's resources. Exact same thing with the sheriff. What did this guy just not meet a test? He forgot to take a test? He didn't go to the shooting range and recertify his marksmanship? I'd like to know what it is that caused him. And I imagine if you've got a panel that's appointed by elected officials, by government officials, a panel to review cases, and if a sheriff fails to maintain his accreditation as a peace officer, let's find out why. Was it a clerical error? Was it a deadline pass that you didn't do something? Or was it a breach of the public trust?
Right.
Was it a violation of standard policies?
Yeah. What you wouldn't want is a board of, like a panel, finding some technical clerical loophole to remove someone who has been duly elected by the people that they represent, right?
Agreed. We had a story this week. We didn't get to it earlier in the week and bring it up with reference to it now with regard to the Pierce County Sheriff and the Thurston County Sheriff having kind of a social media war, right? They're going back and forth at each other over the immigration issues of this administration, especially ICE's operations and their tactics used in Minneapolis. So Pierce County Sheriff Swank, who has a really prominent social media presence. A lot of people think he wastes time and spends far too much time on social media.
Some people think that.
I might find myself in that camp, but that doesn't give reason to remove him from office. The dislike of a elected official doesn't give you valid reason to remove them from office. This board that monitors his qualifications, we're not talking about Sheriff Swank. We're talking about proposed legislation that would give this appointed board the power to remove an elected sheriff if they were to lose accreditation as a peace officer. So, I think if you lose your accreditation for reasons that make it you unfit to hold the job or unqualified or uncertified to hold the job, if it's not just a piece of clerical, that's why there's a board of educated people who make educated decisions, responsible decisions, make the right decision for the well-being of the community. I'm all for this. I'm all for this board. I don't think someone should get to hold their office if they're not qualified for it until the next election cycle. Again, getting back to the presidency. If you don't like it, elections have consequences. To quote the great Lindsey Graham, snappy dresser, beautiful eye makeup. Elections have consequences. If you don't like it, get out and vote. Boom, there you go. But the sheriff, if you lose your accreditation as a peace officer, I don't think you get to hold your office until the next election cycle comes around.
And you don't have to wait for people to rally and recall you.
Yeah,
because they don't like that. It's just an automatic.
Yeah, the recall.
Yeah.
That's valid. That makes sense. All right, folks. We've kind of gotten all we can out of that lemon. We've squeezed all the juice out of that. We're going to take a quick break here, Andrew. When we come back, we're going to get into. Let me look at my notes here. I apologize a little bit. The Sam Darnold thing threw me. Oh, there's been a change made to our public transportation, one of our public transportation systems. I think it's a common sense change, but I will ask the question: how was the original policy put in place? Who made that call, and why did they possibly think that was a good idea? It's the Jake and Spike Show, KIRO News Radio. We'll be right back after these.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
It's time to eat, boys.
The first obstacle, a hated rival.
Purdy has time, throws to the middle, intercepted.
Victim to some of the greatest playoff moments in Seahawks history.
Welcome to the dark side. Richard Sherman tips it. Whole city going up like it's our time.
Seahawks, 49ers.
All teed up.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
You know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine.
Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. Now through February 1st, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Everybody loves the season of giving, but now the season of paying for it is upon us. That not-so-wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, stare in horror at the balance, and resolve then and there to find new ways to save money. If you're among those Americans, why not start by cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver Plan? It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super-fast, nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho. And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company. Pure Talk.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed, or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-656-3300, 206-656-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Fall rains can expose hidden roof problems, and once water gets in, the damage only gets worse. Is your roof ready for the season? Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. At State Roofing and Exteriors, we repair and replace roofs with a quality you've trusted for decades. And yes, we also provide siding, windows, decks, and gutters to keep your entire home protected. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
At Skyline Seattle, senior living never sounded so good. We celebrate the arts and are building enviable cultural partnerships like the Ballardet Quartet from the Seattle Chamber Music Society and the Seattle Art Museum. We provide our residents all the energy Seattle offers. Make your home at Seattle's only true life care community. Culture has an address. Skyline. Discover it all at skylineseattle.org.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Here. I'm here. Okay, all right.
Hi, buddy.
My computer just froze on
full
me.
Full transparency. Keep it 100 around here. I talk to Nate and bother him the entirety of the commercial.
It's not you. My computer just froze on me.
I'm telling him jokes. I'm making inappropriate comments.
All right. I got it.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Spike.
My pleasure.
Good afternoon.
Nate Connors.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Governor Bob Ferguson says he cannot sign either version of the House or state Senate proposals. He says both raises taxes too much, and he says a proposed new wealth tax would draw lawsuits. You don't have the audio? We have no audio.
Computer crash?
All right. I've got a major computer malfunction.
Can we fake it for you?
Yeah, that's all right. Let's
what kind
talk.
Of sound do you need?
Can you do a Bob Ferguson?
I really don't know what to do with all these. I don't know where the money's coming from. Can I borrow $7 billion?
Okay. Let's see. Washington's affordable housing crisis is deepening, according to Microsoft. The company says the state needs 55,000 new units a year, but last year only 34,000 permits were issued. After spending $750 million since 2019, President Brad Smith is urging lawmakers to act.
We cannot build more housing unless we make it cheaper for people to build more housing.
He says developers are investing in other states because it's cheaper and faster to build there. A new report from Microsoft calls for the use of land like empty strip malls for multi-unit housing. I feel like this is the SNL news there. A woman is lucky to be alive after her car was sprayed with bullets overnight in Seattle. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery has more.
Police showed up to the 6500 block of Sylvan Way Southwest to find a woman shot in the arm. Also shot, multiple cars and at least one house with people inside. Investigators were able to determine multiple people had opened fire for a total of 60 rounds. The suspects had driven away by the time police got there. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
The city says it's just a coincidence, but Seattle fans don't care. A popular tailgate spot in Soto has been cleared after years of clogged tents and debris. KIRO 7 TV's Allison Amoye reports.
Time to get pumped up.
That's my pose right there.
We caught up with one of the most recognizable Seahawks fans, a man known as Captain
Captain Seahawk, who says he put out a call on social media to clean up a street known as Hawk Alley, where tailgates were held in the past.
2 weeks ago, this was all full of tents and RVs.
Since COVID, Captain Seahawk says that environment has kept fans away from Hawk Alley.
We've known about it since December. So while it does happen to happen right before the playoffs, it was not planned for that.
All right, and now over to the KIRO News Radio traffic desk. Here's Lori.
405 southbound, right at 132nd in Totem Lake. We have the right lane closed for some maintenance. We had an earlier accident, 522, but really looks like it's rolling okay. Seattle to Linwood right now, a 7-minute delay at 23 minutes. Bellevue to Linwood, an 18-minute drive, and Bellevue to Federal Way is 33 minutes. If you're heading from Federal Way to Tacoma, add on 9 minutes to that, and Tacoma to Olympia, a 30-minute drive. I'm Lori, KIRO Real-Time Traffic.
Hey, thanks, Lori. Your weather update looks like the clouds are starting to thin out there. We're going to peak right around 50 this afternoon. Friday morning starts off cloudy, turning mostly sunny, and 52. It's partly cloudy and 46 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Nice job, Nate Connors. Major computer crash, and you got through that.
Couldn't have done it without you, pal.
Time was when he just put on Zeppelin 4.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I miss those days
those
sometimes.
Were great, man. Give the boss 22 minutes to figure it out. You can't go wrong with side B, Zeppelin 4. All right, buddy. So here's an issue. Sound Transit, which is, finally bringing the spine online with or branching to the east side. They'll open up the route, or the I-90 crossing and connect all the way into Redmond, all the way into Seattle. We've now opened up the stations all the way down to Federal Way and up into Everett with, Limerick, with the future bringing Tacoma and Everett online. So someday this region will have the Sound Transit light rail trains we need to move this population easily through our corridors. And if they keep painting bus lanes on Denny Way, we're going to be on the bus a lot sooner than we were. Anyway, here's the story I want to bring you guys. Sound Transit announced it's making a switch to the amenities, appearances, and equipment used on Sound Transit trains. After feedback from over 2,300 passengers, it has been decided that Sound Transit will replace, and I can't believe I'm even having to bring you this story, they will replace the fabric seats on light rail trains with vinyl on their trains.
Ooh.
Vinyl. They say they're doing this because the cloth is harder to disinfect and takes longer to clean.
Duh.
Vinyl seats will be easier to clean, easier to disinfect, and will cut labor costs and labor time, I should say, by 12.5%.
Again, duh.
Duh. But my question is this. Okay, you're on you're going to take a train. You're going to have the public to come in and take this train. People after person, after seat, after passenger, after homeless person, after...
butt after butt.
Bring your pets. Who thought cloth seats were a good idea to begin with?
And how much did it cost to make this change?
They mentioned, that's an excellent, Laura, you're on it. They mentioned the amount of labor time reduction, of 12.5% reduction in labor time to clean these. But at what cost will we replace these thousands and thousands of seats?
Sound Transit, they'll get it right the fourth time.
Sound Transit, we'll get you there eventually. Who decided that cloth seats on public transportation were a good idea? I mean, we don't have cloth seats in our vehicles for this reason, and we're the only ones who use them. People who don't have time to do laundry, who don't have resources to do laundry, are squatting on bus seats. And I don't mean squatting they're just sitting in bus seats for hours on end.
In defense of cloth seats, they are great, especially in the summer versus something like leather. I don't know about vinyl, I suppose would too. They get hot in direct sunlight. For personal vehicles and for stuff that you're taking care of, I think cloth is the way to go and is more comfortable. But in a public setting, like you wouldn't want a cloth park bench. You
want something you can spray down, right?
Well, and I appreciate you speaking up on behalf of the sound minds at Sound Transit, who decided that from a comfort point of view. You're right. Vinyl gets sticky in the sweat. It gets sticky. Nobody wants that. You go to the gym. You work out at a bench. You got to clean up after you sit. So how do we?
It would still be on the cloth seat. You just wouldn't see it.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's in there. It's porous.
So
it's
gross.
in there. I hadn't even thought about why, Andrew, but you're right. Vinyl seats are going to get hot in the summertime. They're going to get sweaty. People, you sweat on the bus, on the train.
I'm not here to defend Sound Transit.
Sounds like you are.
No, I was ready to drive a bus over them, no pun intended. That for picking cloth seats to begin with. Is hard plastic seats the way to go? When I think about seats, I think about buses. Aren't they all hard plastic seats?
Yeah.
Right? Can we not afford leather? I know we can't. I'm just asking. Maybe
we really didn't think this through.
Maybe just
before.
Can the Bellevue and Redmond line can they have leather at least? They've got the high occupancy lanes. They can buy their way past traffic. Can at least get comfortable leather seats. Can we get them the seats that have air conditioners built in, heaters in the winter? Maybe some concierge service. Maybe a bar up and down a bar car in the Bellevue. I don't know.
Brought to you by Microsoft.
Hey, Microsoft, you want to help out with all these problems? I love the fact that, okay, we can't keep these seats clean. I mean, it's okay. Is it time? Is it there's not enough disinfectant in the world to make these seats safe after a few thousand rides and pets and fentanyl users and those of us with weak dispositions and cloth seats. Sorry, I was all ready to just be outraged, but Andrew, you've brought me around to common sense. It was about our comfort. And the fact that we can't keep the seats clean.
It's still the wrong decision on their part to use cloth, though. That's what I'm saying.
They shouldn't have trusted us.
They shouldn't. No, you can't trust the public.
You're right. They put too much faith in the public.
Yes,
they did.
There you go.
The public. This is the public's fault.
Yeah, they thought we were civilized.
They thought we were dealing with a city on the come up, a civilization worth trusting.
Should have known better.
You should have known. Have you not seen us? Did you not look? Go on the buses with a camera and see who's riding the buses. That's who's going to be on the trains. Okay? Do you trust those people with cloth seats? I don't think you do. So vinyl's coming. Let's see, it's not, no, they've got a $30 billion construction budget shortfall with Sound Transit. So, they need to save money. And I guess if we swap out the seats, there's no list on the story, and the story's from KIRO News. How much it's going to cost to replace these cloth seats with vinyl seats? What's the,
As opposed to if they'd just done it correctly the first time.
Well, this is the same people these are the same folks that put up bus stops that the buses couldn't get to. Remember that little fiasco? The bus stops were put at an elevated height that you couldn't get disability cars or buses to the bus. These are the same folks that built a train line that at one point was too narrow for the cars that they bought.
Yeah.
And remember that
the tracks were the wrong size for the weight of the cars that they bought to go on
That's
them.
what it was. Yeah.
And then the tile on the east side that was rated only for indoors. So
Indoor
people
tile,
would have been
that's right.
slipping and sliding all over the train platform, which is a great place to slip and slide.
To slip and slide, yeah, with the train coming down the tracks at you. That's where you want to be safe and, non-slip.
From the great minds that brought you.
So let me ask you, we list out this parade of bad decisions going in, and we ask the questions. If we had just done a little forethought, if we'd have just asked a couple questions before we spent the money, did the installation, realized we had the problem, had to go back and spend more money with corrections and fixes and reconstructions. Now we got to swap out. How many seats do you think there are on Sound Transit? How many seats are there per car? I want to do the math. Is it a couple hundred seats per car? You think maybe 80, 85 seats per car, six cars per train line? I'm ballparking here. I may be wrong.
AI says around 74 per car.
Pretty close for you, right? Yeah. Pretty close. Okay, so that's times 6 per train. Maybe let's say they have 35 trains. That's a lot of seats. It's a lot of vinyl that we're going to get put on there. So it's not millions, I don't think.
Where do you land after this conversation? Do you land on cloth or do you land your butt on vinyl?
Where do I come down?
Yeah, because you are a light rail transit user.
I'm a light rail user. And I pay to get on now because I've learned my lesson.
Well, you've still got, 4 strikes before you have to
I do
pay?
have 4 more strikes before they have to get in my pocket to buy a ticket. But I will buy a ticket because I want to be a guy that lives up to my word. Where am I at on this? Cloth was more comfortable, and Andrew's right. That's why they did it. They did it for us, but we can't be trusted as a population to keep our bottoms clean and to do our laundry before we get on the train. So because of that, we'll stick to the seats in the summertime. That's just what it's going to be. Well done.
It's what the city deserves.
It's what the city deserves. And Sound Transit, it's your fault. That's what should be their motto. Sound Transit, it's your fault. It's not our fault. It's your fault. All right, when we come back, we'll read back the text of the day. We appreciate you guys being with us for the last 3 hours. It's a Jake and Spike show. Jake will be back tomorrow, folks. I promise. You've been so patient with us. We'll be right back after these.
This is what the NFL playoffs are all about.
The Seahawks win the game.
A dominant Seahawks team, 2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
This is the vision that we had for our team.
Hosting a bitter rival.
Richard Sherman tips it.
In front of the best, loudest fans in the game.
Listen to the 12th man.
Let's go. Seahawks 49ers, Saturday night. Kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped,
Maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377. 800-261-3377.
Start the new year taking active liver supplements from New Nordic. Online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Paid political announcement.
More than half of short-term rentals across Washington are booked by Washingtonians. Families traveling for their children's tournaments and games. Firefighters fighting wildfires. Traveling nurses providing critical care. Every day, short-term rentals are helping make travel more affordable. Legislators in Olympia are considering increasing taxes on short-term rentals. But with the cost of everything going up, we can't take another price increase. Keep travel affordable for us. Paid for by Airbnb helps our state thrive host pack.
Welcome back, everybody. It's been the Thursday edition of the Jake and Spike Show. Dick Skorheim's taking a few days off there. As I mentioned when he first, on Tuesday, I believe it was, Jake had a family medical thing going on, and this company respects that and gave Jake the time he needed to be with family, and that's what matters around here. We all love the people that we work with. And he'll be back tomorrow. We'll both be here tomorrow for you. And we're looking forward to having him back. We missed him when he's not here. Laura, we've got a lot of texts in the show today. Thank you so much. By the way, Laura, thank you so much for the work you did today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you betcha.
And also just to say a lot of texts about Jake, and I just want to say so clearly, everything's fine with his family.
Oh, yeah.
Totally fine.
It was not a major medical emergency. It was just a procedure, and families go through these things as a unit. And Jake did what a good husband, father, dad did. Took time to be with his kid and his wife and his other kids and his other kids and his other kids. And he wants to get a dog now. The guy's out of his mind.
And then maybe another kid?
Yeah, maybe another kid. So on to the text, speaking of which.
On pushing your pet around in a stroller, Shelly in Federal Way says, Sniffari. So true. I walk my cat every day on a leash, and I just let her sniff all over the yard for about 15 to 20 minutes. It is the best part of her day.
You know, it's funny. When Frank Summerall came in and talks about his cat stroller issue, problem, habit.
We tried to have an intervention. I think he ended up converting us.
I think he did bring us around to it. I saw a lady one time when we got our pup. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing as a pet owner. This lady said, your pet's smelling is how they interact with the world. She said, I've taken my dog out for walks, and there have been times when we don't even leave the porch because all the dog wants to do is smell, and that's great. That dog is living its best life. Folks who walk their pets and don't give your pet time to stop and smell the roses or, markings of another pet, which it's not usually roses unless another dog peed on the roses. Give your pet the time to sniff. That's what they love. That's why they're out there doing it, man. And as Frank mentioned, that's what relieves stress from them, anxiety from them. The idea of walking your pet is to get your pet its best life. Let your pet take some sniffs, not just dogs.
Okay, I'm going to have him send me the Amazon link.
Yeah.
C in Arlington says cat strollers are awesome. We take two with us on our walks and take them to their catio. Also, people always slow down and get over when walking.
That's nice. When my oldest moved back from New York City, he brought a cat home. My wife's allergic to cats, but we accommodated because love our kid, love your pets. She built a catio. Built an enclosure outside the window of our basement, bedroom, our extra bedroom in the basement, that she could open the window and the cat could go outside and sit on this little porch. It was fully screened in. This was an indoor cat, but it was great. You make accommodations because pets add so much to your life. 253 says, back in the day, I would walk my pup around a pretty large block. My cat figured out that he wasn't involved and didn't like it. So he would go on our walks with us of his own volition. Wow. Always within 6 feet or so. Off leash. That's bold.
On the impromptu wedding on a Southwest Airlines flight, Gary says, I'd get married on a plane. What a unique way to elope. For a wedding in the traditional sense, I'm going to charter a plane. In general, people don't want to be part of my business.
It's well put. And Laura, can you share what you shared? Go ahead.
When I'm on a plane, I am trying to dissociate myself out of that situation as much as I possibly can. I am putting on an eye mask. I have music or a podcast in my ears. I don't want to be there. I want to make the time go as fast as it possibly can.
Yes.
I'm having a glass of wine. Maybe I'm having half a muscle relaxer.
Well, you don't want to cramp up on a plane.
No.
You wear those special socks? No, you're not. You're
Heaven
young.
forbid. So,
I think it was really rude for them to just inject their wedding into the...
I can't imagine having done my usual cocktail and then watching this happen. I would not have felt
do you think
like
they
I was
said-
of this world. What?
Well,
Am I hallucinating?
How many
Yeah, what was the
relaxers
dosage
did-
on that? Yeah.
You think they said, if there's anyone who objects to this couple, ring your call button. We'll go over. Anywho.
Oh, my goodness.
Joey says, hey, stranger things have happened on a mile-high flight. You think they had their wedding night and... Never mind.
Yeah,
No,
everyone
I'm sorry.
just put their headphones back on.
On a more serious issue, Trump being willing to invoke the Insurrection Act, Dinah and Everett says the person to stop saying crazy stuff and then just calling it a joke.
And Martha and Tumwater says, now that the soup recipe is taken care of, which we do have to
I will definitely
post.
do that.
Martha says, I'm right there with your paranoid self, Spike. If Trump was unwilling to invoke the Insurrection Act when we actually did have an insurrection on January 6th, then the rest of this is the usual protesting.
Yeah, and again, we're not up for violent protesting in any way, shape, or form, folks. Don't misunderstand us. On disclosing where politicians live, Max in the 425 says, having a public job doesn't mean you have to take abuse and threats to your family. A large percentage of our public has some mental health issues and some obsesses and fixation with government. Most government workers are honest and hardworking. Amen to that. Disclosing information about their homes should not be taken lightly.
Yeah, we just live in a different era now, don't we, with the internet? It
do.
just has completely changed the game for how many people can access information about your home. Jess in Utah says, I thought Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil weren't actually medical professionals, but I completely agree. A person should not be allowed to represent a city or a county they don't reside in.
Hear, hear. And finally, on light rail vinyl seats, it says there's a reason airplanes do not have cloth seats. You figure that would be a benchmark and go off of that. There you go. All right, we are done, folks. The John Curley Show is in next. He's got a great lineup set for you. Jake will be back tomorrow. We appreciate you giving us the afternoon. We'll talk to you then. Have a great day.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl.
It's time to eat, boys.
The first obstacle, a hated rival.
Purdy has time. Throws to the middle. Intercepted.
Victim to some of the greatest playoff moments in Seahawks history.
Welcome to the dark side. Richard Sherman tips it. Whole city going up like it's our time.
Seahawks, 49ers.
All teed up.
The divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
You know how we do it. Better bring your hard hat when you can illumine.
Saturday night, kickoff at 5 on the home of the Seahawks. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
If you've saved more than $300,000, you may have a big problem in retirement, and it's taxes. Taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, taxes on your Social Security benefits, taxes on your investment income, and more. And when you add it all up, this could be your largest expense in retirement. That's why it's critical you get in front of this now. Hi, it's Charlie Harger. Discover the strategies that could significantly reduce your taxes in retirement with a free, customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Boss Retirement Solutions, who has 2 locations in Seattle. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 206-220-5200. 206-210-1350. That's 206-210-1350. Don't overpay your taxes to the government. Call 206-210-1350.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. No statement contained herein should constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
The first few steps that I took in the morning were pretty painful.
This is Carlos.
I mean, I had been told by multiple orthopedic surgeons that there was no alternative for me.
That wasn't what he wanted to hear. You see, Carlos is an active guy.
I played basketball, and for 3 to 4 days after, my knees would just be so swollen. And now I can play basketball, and there is no swelling. There is no pain in the knees.
No swelling, no pain, because Carlos went to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I'm just happy to be able to be out there. And then knowing that tomorrow I am not going to suffer for this.
What do you say to your friends and family who are in pain?
I say, I had horrible knee pain, and stem cells really worked for me. You might want to go to Dr. Wagner, just get a consultation before you have surgery.
Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your best source for local news, KIRO News Radio.